Later, I realized MBA finance is also not my cup of tea. That's a separate story.
The phone number is cover page.
At this time, there was a photograph as well. But that's a paid one. So,
It's true.
at this age, I understand it's stupidity to buy Mercedes. Hence, he didn't buy.
It's beautiful learning, right? And it adds value to me. So I will not block your number. So it's a positive from my perspective.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that you won't pay them. of course.
That doesn't mean that I wouldn't pay them.
That's not the next step. Saying, hey, it won't matter.
So cut.
That's not what you're saying. Yeah.
That's what.
Just to clarify.
Yeah.
So welcome to a podcast that you know well, but a slight variation on the theme. So this one is Life UnCovered of Vaibhav. It is with him, but it's about trying to understand what makes the man before and during Inka. And it's kind of been my effort for a while now to try and understand what makes him tick. Slightly different than the common understanding of what founders do and what CEOs of companies do. And I think you love this conversation, which makes a hero of what is normal and might not be common, but in some ways exemplifies the power of storytelling in some ways to understand what somebody is really about. And I'm looking forward to this conversation and enjoying learning a lot more, and hopefully all of us learning a lot more about Vaibhav than we ever wanted to. So with that, let me just kind of start. So firstly, welcome Vaibhav to your own show.
Thank you.
How rare is that, right? And so thank you for the opportunity for me to sit on this side proverbially, right? So I want to kind of start where all good things start, the beginning, right? The beginnings of it. So place yourself in Bikaner and Libya, right?
Yeah.
So 5 days into your birth, that's where you were,
Yeah.
and then you were there for a little bit, and then in Libya. So put that context in mind as you kind of think through. I know you were very young, but I've also heard a lot of stories of you being very aware when you were very young, right? And you still remember a lot of the things of when you were very young, right?
Right.
So describe to me, how was it, right? What was it living? Yeah, Bikaner is still part of India, but it's not home for you, if you recall anything from there. And even Libya, you spent a significant amount of time, I think, what, 5 years? 5 years.
Yeah.
How was it in growing up? And when you kind of look back at it, does it seem strange, common? In your words, how was it?
First of all, thank you for putting in so much of effort. No,
It was fun.
Yeah. I will tell others also they should also do something. But thank you. Libya, on hindsight, when I was thinking about it yesterday also, about some stories of Libya,
Yeah.
I realized it molded me in a big way because I was there from the age of 4 to 9, which is kind of a age where you are actually molded to a certain level. I will still say teenagers when you actually learn a lot of things.
Yeah.
But some basic fundamentals of life are taught to you in that primary school age.
Yeah.
So, amongst the many things which I learned, one was patience. Because Libya as a country had a lot of trade embargoes. And that meant the entire country would either not get something for months and months, or suddenly would get the same thing everywhere. So, for example, in India, you have got a store selling cosmetics, or a store selling ice cream, or a store selling clothes and fashion brands and things like that.
Yeah.
In Libya, stores were selling the same thing everywhere because if a ship comes, every store is selling either TV or a radio or a cassette or something.
Okay.
So when we reached, our family bought antennas before TV because they knew when TV would come, antennas may not be available.
Oh, okay.
A lot of us bought audio cassettes even when we did not have tape recorders because when tape recorders would come, audio cassettes would not be there.
Oh, how interesting.
So I think at that age, we used to make fun of it.
Yeah.
But I think that was also teaching me that जिसको हिंदी में बोलते हैं हिंदी में बोलते हैं अवधा में अवसर. Or basically, in a strange situation, you at least learn how to grow, learn how to survive and still be happy.
Okay.
Other thing which happened with me because of Libya was, and I think a lot of people in our generation, even in India, did not have TV and other entertainment sources. So majority of my time was spent in the community playing with kids. So because we were there, we had got a lot of expat kids. So it was a doctors community in the university.
Okay.
So doctors from different countries and people are playing together. It was football or cricket or anything. So it also made me understand the diversity concept. So a lot of things basically, but I think one of my golden eras of life, because there was absolutely clean air, which at this age you realize how important it was. And a lot of time from parents, because there was no other circle, so to say. So it was parents and me and other friends and common friends having the same parents. So all the doctors' kids growing together. So very similar situation. So that's what Libya was for me.
And is that a lot more you thinking about it in the past, or while you were living there, you're feeling that this is so cool?
No.
Is it comparative hai, या is it just stands on its own?
No, ये retrospective hai, I would say.
Okay, yeah.
When I was there, that's when I realized one other thing, is the fact that in my school, kitna bhi pad loon, it was very difficult to get a good rank with good marks also. And I used to, as a youngster also in second or third, think of it like an IIT situation, because everyone who's there is basically sharpest minds from the country coming together, assuming we are all Indians, and their kids studying. So I always used to feel कि रुड़की से भी एक friend है, Bengal से भी है, and everything. So diversity के चक्कर में, and I think सब एटमॉस्फेयर पढ़ाई का था, तो पढ़ाई कितनी भी कर लो मार्क्स आ भी जाते थे, बट रैंक नहीं आ पाती थी. एंड बट अब ऑन हाइंडसाइट अ लॉट ऑफ थिंग्स कम एट एज अ 4 or 6 year old. यही था कि एंजॉय करो और रैंक ले आओ. रैंक नहीं आ पाती थी, बट मार्क्स आ जाते थे.
Okay. Yeah. So the beginning years as well, right? When you're up to, as you said, up to 9 years old, right?
Yeah.
Is when you learn a lot of these skills of. Right. You talked about patience, because you kind of learned that, and you're learning while it's happening. This is not even relative to it, because that actually happened in the first 9-10 years of your life. What about accepting things? Was that something? Did you have? Now I don't want to say hardships, but was it an environment where you have an extended family and you're very close to your extended family, like most Indians have, and you don't get to see them that often, right?
Right.
But did that kind of shape in terms of how you accept things, or were you complaining about how was it like in terms of relative, growing up as a young kid there? Was it any different than the stories you've heard about maybe your cousins who grew up here?
I think cousins may not be so different, but if I look at my friends in Jodhpur, when I came back here, the difference is a lot of them had lot of extended relatives, like you said, and they had their village to go to, and they used to call mere itne sare bhai hain and things like that. There it was not like that. Plus, being a Kashmiri ourselves, we didn't have a village to go to. So all my Marwadi friends here had a particular village. It could be outside Jodhpur. Yesterday, for example, when we met Gauravi, and she was talking about her village being somewhere between Jodhpur and Jaipur.
Correct.
And Siddharth Paliwal also saying, "Hamara village alag hai," and things. So one, I did not have a village to go to, so to say. I was only a city person. Two, staying over there, I would say family was not an issue, extended family, but the friends I made there were pretty interesting, because at a very young age I got the understanding of diversity.
But also it is diverse, but it's also folks are actually in similar works your parents were.
Correct.
Right? They're all teaching.
Correct.
Essentially.
Yeah.
Right? So there's a level of education there.
Correct.
In some ways, right? Do you kind of compare that with anything else? Because after that, when you, let's say, go to school in India, the parents will come with all kinds of backgrounds.
Exactly.
Did that shape you in any way? Is that something that you kind of think about? Because it's a very different group, the community that by definition, cocoon thoda sa.
Correct.
But also the parents of your friends are similar to some level in terms of what they're doing. Right? There could be a lot of doctors, for example. Right?
Yes. So there it was all, like you said, cocoon, because everyone was a doctor teaching in the university. So it was not only doctors, these are doctors who were teaching in the university. And operating and surgery, all those things. But ultimately, these are teaching doctors. So yes, that was there. Once I came back, again, this is something a lot of people don't know, that I was bullied for a long time.
When you came back.
When I came back, because my Hindi was weak. And English was my first language.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that piece of when you actually come in. So we still stay in Libya right now.
Sure.
Right? Yeah.
So it was pretty comfortable that way. And I think I enjoyed it. And I had my parents with me. I had friends whose parents are also like parents, because
Yeah.
like you said, we were staying in a close-knit community, all doctors, and a 100% safe environment. So even if it was dark,
Yeah.
after the sunset, you could go into anyone's house, anyone could come into your house. It was like an entire community was like a house. So on hindsight, it was actually a studio apartment which was given to doctors. So because we were a family, we were given 2 studio apartments.
I see.
So we had a 1-bedroom kitchen set. We had got another 1-bedroom kitchen set. If we wanted to go from one room to the other, we had to go out and then go.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Because the units that were built for doctors were for bachelor doctors. So these were studio apartments. And if the doctor had a family, then 2 studio apartments were given.
Okay.
So you did not have like one big house with 2 bedrooms or something. But when you're living there, you don't realize, because everyone is living like that. But on this side, if you come, and now that I've been exposed to
Then
a
you can
larger
come back.
world,
Yeah.
if you ask anyone in Bombay, instead of a 2-bedroom, I'll give you 2 studio apartments, he will laugh at you. But that's what was given, and we all enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Another thing which the government did, and if I can, the Libyan government, was a very interesting thing of repatriation of money.
Okay.
A lot of countries had a concept that you could repatriate 90%, 95% of your money, and you were allowed to, no, you were forced to send, you were forced to spend 5 to 10%, whereas in Libya it was 50-50.
Okay.
You could repatriate only 50% of your money. You were
Rest has
forced
to be
to
spent
spend 50%.
there.
So that meant all the doctors were living a very financially lavish lifestyle. So you never had to think twice before you open your mouth with respect to, Papa ye chahiye ya mummy ye
But
dila
did you
diye.
ask a lot growing up at that time, you think?
On hindsight, we could not, because availability नहीं थी.
अच्छा, वो भी है.
तो मैं मांग भी लूं, अगर मिले नहीं तो मैं क्या करूं?
That's
But so whenever anything would come, parents or my parents and my friends' parents and everyone would immediately buy. So there was a doctor friend of ours. He had got 24 TVs.
Wow.
In one studio apartment, he had multiple TVs put everywhere. कि अभी आया, अभी खरीद लेता हूँ. बाद में क्या होगा? When he came back to India, he built a big house with 24 rooms and whatnot.
Foresight.
Yeah.
Incredible. So last question on this period before we kind of move
Sure.
down the time horizon, if you will. Values, right? So what you value the most, and most of the values they say are kind of set by the time you're 18. So you lived halfway through 18 at that
Right.
point in time. What kind of brings you back in terms of what you learned about yourself or what's important? ये सब चीज़ ना non-negotiable है. These are
Correct.
things. So if you think about the first 9 years, what are those forming values for you?
So one of the values was education. Because when you see everyone who was there only because they were educated, they were doctors and teaching doctors again. The reason I'm saying teaching doctors is they've specialized in something. Two, the value system that I realized was that whether you're from country A, B, C, or because, like I said, a lot of people were there from different countries, what matters is the quality of delivery you do. I'll tell you why. All the doctors over there had a system, or rather, the Libyan government had a system of rating. If you were not rated by patients pretty well, so every patient, like what we in India call a 360 degree, the annual contracts would not be renewed.
Wow. Okay.
So if your father, and this age you realize as a 4 or 5 year old kid, you don't much, but suddenly you see that certain doctors are not coming back after a year. And my father basically had a 1 year contract which was renewed for 5 times, and 5 was the maximum because then the government had a 5-year MOU kind of thing.
Okay.
So when you realize that, and you realize, okay, you are getting to stay there only because your father is delivering the goods he is expected to deliver, and he is getting rated in the right way by the patients.
Wow. Okay.
Last thing which I realized, and someday actually I had thought long time back that I may enter politics one day, is the support system the government had over there, which was fabulous. If there was anyone who was recommended a treatment which could not be done in Libya, the government would pick up the entire cost of that person and one person, because there needs to be someone accompanying the patient in whichever part of the world to get that treatment. So if there was, because my father is an orthopedic surgeon, let's say there was a hip replacement which could not be done. Most of the treatments could be done there, but let's say it could not be done.
Yeah.
And he said, okay, it needs an international treatment. Then wherever, let's say it could be Switzerland, it could be Italy,
You
Europe,
would fund the whole thing.
the government would fund the entire thing, including one person to stay with that person for 2 months, 3 months, till the time the treatment happens in that.
So that kind of triggers something in your head saying you wanted a part of governance to be able to facilitate
To
that. create that.
facilitate that, because that was one part of the government which I liked. The other part of the government which I liked was all the ministers were basically people from that field. So my father's head of department was actually also the health minister of the country.
Oh, okay.
Someone who was working with my father, his father-in-law was the RBI governor equivalent. Basically, he was the central banking head. He also happened to be the finance minister. So someone who was from the industry and the expert in that industry, being the minister of that field,
Okay, yeah.
I thought that was a pretty impressive way of designing ministries.
And companies too.
And companies too. Yeah,
A
absolutely.
lot of times those things are often looked down upon in terms of a generalist versus specialist, but it's a very interesting
Correct.
story. So that's a lot for for a, let's say 4 to 9 years. So we didn't go to
Correct.
0 to 4. That would be a little, I think we'll all be making it up. Your mom will need to be here to see if it's true or not. Let's kind of now move from there to early years and imagine that you kind of move back. This is your time in Jodhpur, right? So this is school time and studying. So let's kind of go to that story that we put a pin in, which
Right.
is when you came back, you didn't speak Hindi. And so you were only speaking English even to your parents at that time.
No, I could speak in Hindi. It was not that, but my first language, so automatic replies would come in English. So I would process in English and then convert it into Hindi and speak.
Okay.
So that led to 2-3 issues at school. One, I still can't speak Marwari. So I could not speak then also. But the teachers liked that I could speak in English because I was in a convent school and English was the first language. But that also meant that when people were talking to me in Hindi, I was replying in English. So a lot of them were slightly uncomfortable starting discussions with me
Okay.
because I would end up replying in English. So as of now, my Hindi is much better than what it was then, but that also grew on me. Second, what happened, and as a youngster, I understand same things would happen to people who move after a time, is all my examples were set in Libya. For example, if somebody would talk about breads, and I would say, okay, this is the kind of bread that is available in Libya. Because I was not exposed to India at all.
Yeah.
Barring the summer vacations when we used to come. But those are not good enough time to get exposed to the country.
Yeah.
So those kind of things did happen. And then there were a few friends I did make who were welcoming me into that thing. But
It was tough to begin with.
It was tough to begin with.
So let's go to that piece, if you're comfortable talking about it, where you were getting bullied, right? Or getting teased. Let's call it
Yeah,
teased,
actually,
let's not
that's
say
the
bullied,
right word. Yeah.
How did you react to it? Now, we know obviously how people feel when they're teased.
Right.
They're getting, picked on.
Right.
But how did you react to it?
So initial reaction in class 5 when I returned for a few days was that I wanted to not go to school.
Yeah.
I would tell my mother that nahi jana.
Were you at that time taller than everybody else?
No.
Or you grew?
In the class?
Yeah.
No, I was always I was
class.
through and through the tallest, but if not the tallest, amongst the top 3. Because the top 3, when I say top 3, I'm saying the tall 3.
Yeah.
Were always half an inch moving here and there because height spurts keep on happening. So I was never one of those late growers. I always was the tall
And the reason I asked this in schools, teasing is also a very physical thing.
Luckily, it was not. So actually, bully is a wrong word because bullying can be bad. Teasing is also wrong. I would say I was most of the times maybe not included in groups.
I see. Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So those groups were formed on their own comfort zones and everything, and I was not a part of them. But then, like I said, 3-4 friends. So there's Gaurav, there is Samir, and there's Aditya. And no rank order, I'm just naming 3.
Correct.
So Gaurav Tak, Samir Ali, Aditya Vats. 3 of them. Now, 3 of them are very different in their own spectrum, but 4 of us became good friends. And I think four of us had our own journeys to go through and things like that. But I think it was a good experience. Later, by sixth, I was okay. Fifth, the first year was slightly painful till the time I could discover these friends and everything.
Yeah.
Also, what happened was when we were growing up, our seating used to be height wise.
Okay, so you'll be at the back.
So I would be at the back. I continued to be a backbencher through and through for that reason, because till the time I reached college where we could pick and choose,
yeah.
I was always the tall one. And then when I felt that backbench is all the fun, why should I go in front? So I always stayed backbencher. But hence all my friends then happened to be 6 feet plus.
Okay.
Because the friendships were made on the backbench. So, so all of my now friends are, so in fact, when I got married and my wife started meeting my friends, the old friends, now the friends can be of any height.
Achha. Now
I have diversity in height.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that was her first observation. Why are all your friends tall, school friends? I didn't realize, and I said, oh, ये हम सब पीछे खड़े होते थे bench में, line में भी पीछे, बैठते भी पीछे, तो बात करते करते उनसे.
That's so interesting, actually. I don't know if all schools have the same thing, that all friends tend to be the same height at a point in time. But you talked about in Libya as well, in terms of saying that everybody is studying. Just because you study hard doesn't mean you get marks.
Right.
But your parents...
I'll just correct. Just even if you get marks, you don't top, because there is someone who's sharper and brighter than you.
Yeah. So in Jodhpur, right, two parts of my question. One is, see, context of parents, right? So for example, what your mother is and dad is now, and even at that point in time, right? Did you feel the pressure that you had to study, do well, unka naam rakhna hai, right? The societal thing of Jodhpur mein, like, naam kharaab mat karna, wo to dur ki baat hai, but to be able to actually put in that effort to do it. Was that pressure at that time, 10, 11, 12 years old, or no?
No. My teachers were more under pressure, because जब भी marks खराब आते थे, अगर bio या English, these two languages, especially subjects, my teacher was, father doctor and bio. मैंने कहा वो थोड़ी पढ़ के आए हैं, तो पढ़ना तो मेरे को ही है. So I was, but luckily I through till 10th, actually till class 9th, I was maths topper.
Okay.
10th, I got good marks, but there were some people who did better than me also. But maths was always my forte. So maths was my comfort zone, and English grammar. So I would top my class in these two things.
Okay. Yeah. But there was no pressure. You didn't have any self-imposed pressure of successful parents, and therefore it didn't give you any...
Oh, actually no. Because what happened was they are so successful that there was no scope. See, it's like Abhishek Bachchan. It's very difficult to be Amitabh. So I can relate to him in his field, but if you are someone else's father, where there is some scope, because my father, when it comes to sports, has played Ranji, very difficult to play.
That was my next question about sports too.
And he was a gold medalist through and through in MBBS, got through MS PGI, where there's one seat in the country. He got selected for MS in AIMS and PGI, where there's one seat in ortho. Then now I think there are 3 seats. So I can't. I knew it from the beginning. मैं अपना section तो top नहीं कर पा रहा हूँ. So country top करना तो बहुत दूर का है.
But let me ask you a different version of that question. Did that give you freedom? Because not just that नहीं होगा करके, but everything that they did give you luxuries and privilege to be able to try different things.
Correct.
Did you give you freedom? Or that also, because that's the other end of it, right? नहीं डर नहीं लगता था. I didn't feel that, oh my God, I'm failing compared to them. But did you also think of that as liberating?
Hugely.
Achha,
hugely. Okay. And still is. So I'm not wanting to jump the timeline.
Yeah.
But
sure.
Till date, because of them, I have this comfort. Even if I fail, I've got a very safe cushion behind me. So sticking to school, there was a competitive exam which I gave in 97. Entrance for engineering, basically. And everyone knew that I would get through. All my friends got through, barring me. And the morning when the result came, and in our times, you're slightly elder, but in our pre-internet era, the newspaper used to publish the roll numbers.
Go and see,
So I went to the newspaper hawker's place at 6:30, because at home it would come at 7. So in anticipation, went to the newspaper guy, picked up the Rajasthan Patrika, went through all the roll numbers. I didn't find my roll number. Then I went to the engineering college.
Okay.
which
Board
we
पे
saw
लगता है
yesterday.
जहाँ पे.
बोर्ड पे भी होता है. Sometimes one number
हाँ.
may get missed in printing.
बिल्कुल, बिल्कुल.
I was super confident.
Hopeful.
So I went there. It was not there. And in our times, there were no percentiles or marks announced. You either had it or
Yeah.
your number was not there. So I came home and I told my parents before the newspaper comes and they also scout for the number. I said, nahi hua hai. And I was relaxed. They were very bothered कि कहीं सुसाइड ना कर ले, कहीं चोट ना लगा ले अपने आप को. 2 साल 3 साल मेहनत करी है. And I had given a lot.
So you were disappointed though.
No, I was not. I felt bad, but I said okay. And for next 48 hours, they pampered me so much that I told my mother that कई बार फेल होना भी अच्छा है. मेरे को इतने तो कभी मार्क्स अच्छे आने पे पैम्परिंग नहीं हुई.
But so usually, if any story like this,
Yeah.
there is expectation, there is huge disappointment. And you're right, like sometimes the disappointment is thinking in their eyes
Yeah.
or your own eyes and whatever standards that you put. But this positivity, true sense of not the toxic positivity, but the positivity of saying, to kya hua? Is that like self-belief that I'll figure out something else, I'll do something else, or I will achieve something else? Where is that coming from? Or rather, where is it going? Right? That positivity.
The reason I, on hindsight, again think because I never wanted to be an engineer.
Okay.
In our times, again, and when I say our times, you're slightly elder to me, but it's
Yeah,
a
yeah,
different era from compared
That's
to today. Anyone who was decent in education in 10th used to, at least in a small town, take maths or bio.
बिल्कुल.
Was
Yeah.
engineering
Medical?
or medicine. These were the only two professions, so
Some
to say.
people तो
Then.
दोनों लेते थे. हाँ.
हाँ, तो I had a maths bio.
Yeah, correct.
So,
That's
but I decided कि bio तो बिल्कुल भी नहीं होगी. At least engineering में बैठते हैं. I then also knew I was not going to finish as an engineer if I do engineering.
Why?
The thought was to do an MBA and get into finance. Because what I had heard, and I may be absolutely, kiddish, abhi as angle se lagta hai, but I used to hear that those, and I'm talking of 90s, mid 90s, and people from IMA getting placed into Goldman Sachs and newspaper covering those kind of salaries and everything. So I said, okay, I should get into the best B school, whether I go through A, B, or C route and get into financial world. Later, I realized MBA finance is also not my cup of tea. That's a separate story. But the thought then was whether I do engineering or
Because
whatever.
of so the idea of business schools of what they were doing, the fame, the money, which one?
Money.
Achha. Yeah.
I said okay, now that it's coming and it's going on record, the only thing which I thought I could do better than my father was I may be in a position to buy a Mercedes Benz faster than him or earlier than him. And that was my goal, that by the age of 30, I should own a Mercedes. And to own Mercedes, I need to earn. And the fastest way to earn legally, ethically, was to be an MBA finance, get into a job.
So there is competition then. There is a beating
Yes.
or meeting or beating. So that is there.
That's there. So I, till date also, even if I'm designing competition or thinking what I can do against the competition, I have that. But
Yeah.
I generally look at what is the spot which is
Where you can.
where I can.
Correct. So cricket नहीं होगा. Ranji
Cricket
level.
nahi hoga. I can't reach Ranji. I can enjoy my sports.
Correct,
I've played nationals. I've
That's
played
right.
Rohington Barrier. I can study to a certain extent. I can't top the city. I
Gold
can't top my
medal.
section also, I know.
हाँ.
So ठीक है. But पैसा कमा सकें. And on hindsight, it's so stupid because I now understand the kind of income he had, and at this age I understand it's stupidity to buy Mercedes, hence he didn't buy. But as a 15, 16, 17-year-old person, I thought कि उन्होंने Mercedes नहीं खरीदी है, वो मारुति 800 चला रहे हैं. Benz लेंगे हम.
Benz लेंगे.
So with that thought.
It's true. Now that you have a kid, you probably have a very different perspective on that in terms of how you look at.
Yeah. But I looked
strange
at
things.
it then, not now. Yeah.
Now, a lot of the friends that I kind of spoke to around
Yeah.
the same time, who knew you at that time, or even your family, they talk about you being independent
Yeah.
and having a street smartness. So it's very different than the knowledge around doing well. They all talked about maths and you doing well in school as well. But street smartness, is that a thing that you kind of actively acquired, that stuff that you learned because you were in a place that is a very commercial city?
Right.
Everybody's parents is उनको, for example, धंधे के बारे में पता है.
Correct.
As opposed to Libya, where you are actually sitting with erudite education academics.
Correct.
So that's a very different world, right? Is that something you learned there, or am I kind of forcing this in terms of?
No, I don't know whether it was the business community people with me or no.
Yeah.
But I think 3-4 things that made me street smart or something. One, because I was a backbencher. Because of the height.
Yeah.
Backbenchers are always the mischievous ones.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we were into some kind of mischief always. And I think if you were doing some mischief and at the same time focusing on the class, so I could remember all the things. For example, you have said that how do I take calls and without making notes remember kisne kya kaam diya and things. I think that came from my class days because I was doing some work,
कुछ
बदमाशी, but वहाँ class भी चल रही है. So amongst these set of people, I was getting good marks. I was not the topper, but
they probably hated you for that, no?
No, because
friends को तरह से मस्ती तो तू भी करते थे, कैसे नंबर आते?
नहीं, इनके भी उतने ही आते थे.
इतने भी नहीं आते.
So actually on
enough to be good, not enough to get ostracized.
So between the 4 of us, very funnily, always we were 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th.
Oh wow!
So top 3 were a different league. The other were a different league. And so sometimes I would hover at 4th, sometimes I would be 7th, but in fact in board also, Aditya and Samir got exactly the same marks. I don't want to disclose their marks because मेरे भी आ जाएंगे बाहर. But I got 4 marks less than, no, not 4. 4 marks less than them in 10th board. All the 5 papers put together, I'm saying.
Yeah.
And Gaurav got slightly 1 or 2% less than me. So Samir, Aditya and I, 4 of us in boards
tend to be
finished practically 1.5% within the band.
So so you're talking about this boards is what, 12th?
10th. 12th we parted ways because one got into bio and different schools. And
different school as well, right? 11,
yeah, 12. Aditya and me went to Air Force School because we wanted CBSE. And Gaurav and Samir went into Rajasthan board, which was a different school. Yeah.
And so these schools were co-ed?
10th tak was all boys.
Okay.
11th, 12th for both of us for all 4 of us was co-ed, different schools, but yes.
So it's interesting. The reason I asked this question also is during one of the conversations about how you look at and talk to, growing up.
Right.
You have, boys and girls, you come from all boys school. I went to an all boys school. College is the first time that,
Right.
you're kind of talking
Right.
To a gender different than yours. And so therefore, I want to kind of get a sense from you saying, you had a younger sister by then?
Right.
So there is somebody at home, but
Right.
did you feel yourself acting the same across both of them? Do you think that was different compared to others? Did you have anything that you noticed about how you dealt with genders?
Actually, one, I had a sister, like you said, and all my cousins were female. So I don't have a cousin brother on my father's side.
Oh, okay.
I have
You raised
Mamu's
well.
son also, but my chacha had only daughters. So I was very comfortable with women because all sisters were there with me. 2, also it depends on the family background. So I never had, so in our household there was no gender discrimination. In fact, sometimes I used to crack this joke with my mother कि दूरदर्शन पे आ रहा है कि बेटी को पढ़ाओ, बेटी ये करो, वो सब. मैंने कहा हमारे बेटे का होना चाहिए. My sister is getting more treatment of luxury.
Yeah.
So I didn't have that, but also what happens is the town you stay in. So this town, even if you're in a co-ed place, has a discrimination.
Achha.
So even in college, forget my Air Force school because that was still only 4 girls in a boys school kind of a thing. So they were still there. But in my graduation, we had got, I think, around 30-70 kind of a ratio, 35% female and 65 to 70 male. But we were supposed to sit in different rows.
Oh.
We could not sit with them. We could not talk to them.
Okay.
So one day I still remember, there was a girl from my batch who was handing over her notes to me so that I could just do, and not in some odd place. We were in the parking in an open area, but one of the teachers saw and started scolding, "Why are you talking to a girl?" And I said, "I'm taking notes. This is a parking area, open parking area, and I'm taking." And they said, no, you're not supposed to talk to girls. So we, even in co-ed school colleges, at that point of time in the city, there was still that separation. One of our batchmates because our boys' side was packed, sat on the girls' side, but with a gap of 3-4 benches.
Okay.
And the maths professor scolded him that, you move, even if you have to stand, but you're not supposed to sit in this column. So we did talk, and I could talk, and I could talk better than other boys in my class to the girls. Because again, like I said, the family had never shown any discrimination, so I was freer with women or girls. Women to kya bole?
But did you notice the difference between you and, let's say, even your friends and others in terms of how you
They were,
thought
yeah.
they were a lot more conscious
They were a lot more
apart from
conscious.
just the segregation, even in
Yeah,
private
even if they
spaces.
would, if girls would come into the canteen, the boys would suddenly give place to them. Ki, baith jao. I was still okay.
Yeah.
So for that reason, again, I think a lot of people may not know. First
they
year,
will.
now they will.
Yes,
Now it's going on record. First year, college politics was happening,
Yeah.
which happens everywhere, especially in North. And one of the leaders came to me. And he said, आपकी रैगिंग वैगिंग नहीं होगी, आपको समोसे खिलाएंगे. एंड मेरे को और एक और मेरे फ्रेंड को कैंटीन ले गए, समोसा थम्स अप पिलाई. एंड देन दे सेड, कैनवस करोगे हमारे लिए? मैं हाँ, व्हाई नॉट? एंड देन आई रियलाइज्ड, बिकॉज I and this friend of mine, two of us were the only boys who could talk to girls.
Oh, okay.
So we could ask. So this
For
person
vote
who's
के लिए.
standing for the president
हाँ, वो नहीं कर
did not have the courage to ask the girls कि मेरे को वोट करना. So I went ahead and asked कि ये खड़े होना, इनके लिए वोट करना. नहीं जीते वो, that's a separate story.
Sure, that is your excuse that you gave everybody. तेरे को बोला गया है.
बोला गया, वरना मैं
canvassing कर रहा हूँ.
मैं कैनवसिंग कर रहा हूँ, वरना मेरे को बात नहीं करनी.
Wow. Okay. No, that's also interesting because, and we are talking about, this is
97.
Yeah.
97.
97.
97 to 2000 is when I did my graduation. Yeah.
Wow. So at that time, it
At
was
that
like
time,
this.
yeah.
Just tells you, hopefully it's different now. So last kind of question on these years. And we kind of touched about it a little bit. But, I think I was kind of leading you to try and understand. So you played sports.
Right.
You played kabaddi. You played cricket. Right? Those are physical sports.
Right.
And sports also have physicality outside of playing. There's a lot of bonding and there's a lot of... But every story I've heard, and I've tried very hard to try and figure out, there are no physical reaction stories of you. That there's no story of you beating up somebody or fighting back. Forget about like beating up.
Yeah.
Like somebody who knows you knows that you didn't suddenly become a nice, shant person right now. You were that way. But no fights, no reactions, right? Or maybe it's not true. Is that something that was always there? Changed this time?
So, two things. One, fight, I'll share. Again, no one knows. I was talking to a girl.
Huh.
Rather, the girl was talking to me. Let me rephrase it.
I think I know her name. Huh.
No. She, no one knows that story. But it goes on air now. So, we were having a cult fest. And first year students make this mistake, which I did. I volunteered to be, okay, give me any role. And they said, your role is to stop outsiders from the college. Outside the college.
You were the bouncer.
The bouncer kind of a thing.
But
So,
वहाँ पे तो the bouncer को पिटाई तो मतलब you're just doing a job.
हाँ, नहीं, वहाँ कुछ नहीं हुआ.
अच्छा, वहाँ कुछ
So, I asked someone not to come. That person was slightly bothered, but he didn't respond. And I was always tall, well-built. I was leaner with not a six-pack, but a nice wing, decent sports person body. And this guy's crush supposedly came to me asking for some direction. Then I gave some direction. Then the story got over. She was not from my class, not related. But because you are at the security premise, stopping, so people would ask for directions. Next day, this guy came to fight with me. And before I could respond or react, and he started hitting. And he hit me from behind because I was on a scooter. And I fell. And I didn't hit because it just came suddenly what happened. And there were 2-3 other friends of mine who were also, because all of us used to leave the college together. So this happened right outside the college premise. And this guy tried to hit me. I just blocked like this. I didn't hit him or punch him back. And the thing got over because he also rushed because college se log aa rahe hain and everything. So he was not from our college. Disappeared. By the time all this happened, commotion happened, I said, what happened? Mere ko samajh mein nahi aaya. So I checked with a friend of mine who was, so there was always someone in your group who has all these notorious connections.
बिल्कुल.
So he said, ये था, और चल, इसके पास चलते हैं. मैंने कहा, ये कहाँ चलते हैं? I have no clue who is he, why is he.
Yeah.
But this friend of mine, who's now a very senior guy in the ministry and is ex-raw and everything, took me to one of the big dadas of Jodhpur. He'll solve the issue. मैं कहा पहले इशू क्या है, मेरे को तो यही नहीं पता, मिस्टेकन आइडेंटिटी भी हो सकती है और समथिंग. So we met him. He said, okay, this guy, I'll call him. So he was called next day.
Yeah.
In a common college, neutral college, if I may say.
Oh, okay.
And I was on one side and this big dada on the other side. He said, what happened? And this guy, I'm feeling bad for him, was wearing crepe bandages and everything. To hit me also, you need power. His hand got my...
You hurt somebody by not fighting.
Not fighting. And
but just
then,
being the person.
Yeah. And then the guy told me, you were talking to this girl. I said, who's she? He said, in your college. I said, see, anyone comes and asks for direction doesn't mean I have any things.
So, sorry to interrupt the story, but that's the only physical fight story? Or is that the best
sorry.
one?
That's the only one.
You don't have to be sorry, please. I'm not trying to say,
So, I have never...
But you avoided them because, see again, this is not about the fight stories as much as there are opportunities. There's everything that happens. Colleges, right? Somebody will come and...
So, there was one occasion where I could have thrashed someone.
Okay.
But
where you felt angry enough to do so.
I felt angry enough. But actually what happened, I'll take a step back. 12th, a very dear friend of mine, he's now doing phenomenally well in US and now a US citizen also. And we were just chit-chatting and he cracked a joke and I just slapped him, प्यार से, अरे क्या मजाक कर रहा है? And his jaw had an issue then and we had to take him to a doctor and everything. And that's when I realized my hands are very heavy. Just as Sunny Deol बोलता था, 2.5 किलो का हाथ पड़ जाएगा. So I, at that point of time in 12th, realized that whatever may happen, I will not be lifting my hand at anyone because if I lift, the person is gone. So first year, this person and I, who's now a good friend of mine, he is also based in US, had some altercation and he kept on instigating. And I got so furious that my body was out of anger, shivering. And I decided that I will not slap because if I slap and something happens, then I put my hand behind and I fought verbally with him kind of thing. And I said, okay. He said, you're scared because you're shivering. I said, I'm scared for you, not for myself. Wow. And then I walked out. But I have never raised beyond voice also after that. So
let's kind of now go into, your college is done. Let's talk about the segment. So imagine yourself, your first MBA, your second MBA, work before that and after the second one as well. Right. So let's kind of center ourselves during that time. So it's essentially pre-pandemic. Right? So we're going to take all the way till the pandemic. Sure. We ended in 97, 98 or something.
2000, basically graduation finishes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we'll get to that level, right? So from 2000 to, it's almost 20 years then that we're talking about. It's a big chunk, right? So describe to me, how was it getting into corporate life for you? Was it really different, the kind of person you are, whether it's college, the way you made friends, connections? How was work life, the first job that you had? How was it?
So first job was also, getting the first job was fun. Because...
Okay. I thought you were going to say hard. I never thought, nobody ever says getting the first job was fun.
Because till the first job, at least I had no clue, barring the fact that I wanted a Mercedes black color. I had no idea of what to do.
I see.
I got through MBA and once I reached there, started studying, that's when, can you imagine, I realized what's the word FMCG mean. I didn't know that till the time I reached B school. I didn't know a lot of things. So I benchmarking and all these words, jargons which are taught in B school, I studied. Again, in my MBA, I realized I went to do finance, but I realized finance is not my cup of tea. Marketing, sales marketing actually is what I can do better. Did that. Also started a theatre club in my college, so which still is running, very operational, called Chehre. And so I'm the founder of Chehre, the club. Maybe because no other club was very excited to pick me. So I said, if they can't pick, let me create. Plus, theatre was something I enjoyed.
So it's a beautiful, concept is saying, if they won't pick me in a club and I don't want to be part of the club because I don't enjoy it, I'll start my own.
Yeah.
Okay.
So did that. And like I said, it's now still operational for 20 odd years, 20 plus years. And there I got through my job interview, I said it's fun. That itself was a case study for a few years after I passed out.
Wow. Okay.
13th December 2001 is when I gave that interview. It was Pidilite. And it was a day-long process from group discussions to personal interview and CV selection. That's the day when the parliament was attacked. 13 December 2001. Morning they came, they did the pre-placement talk. That's known as PPT, Pidilite. The entire team was there. CVs were submitted earlier, but then they came, they spoke about Pidilite. After the session was over, the head of HR and head of marketing, these two people were there. They said there's a list of 20 people outside who have been shortlisted. These 20 can please come for the group discussion.
Okay.
I went outside like peacefully. I never thought my name would be there because I was not amongst the top 20 if it was the percentile cutoff.
Yeah.
Or neither. I was with engineering background. I thought they may prefer engineers. Then I thought they may prefer people with work ex. So I was a fresher. I was a BSc electronics, fresher, summer experience also not in Pidilite. So not my forte. But luckily my name was there. So I said, okay, at least I've reached till group discussion. This is the first company to come on campus. It's good. It will be a nice practice for me.
Okay.
So I sat for the group discussion, went off very well. And then they announced that 8 people from the group discussions have been shortlisted. We were all sitting, 20 of us were sitting in a room. The HR lady walked out and called out the 8 names. Naturally, my name was there. She said, out of these 8, we'll interview one by one. Can you pick your number? We'll call you in that order. So I didn't rush. Everyone said, okay, 1, 2, 3. I said, 8 hai, mere ko to milega hi. So I had to take a number. So I got 8th. After the first interview, I realized that it was a 45-minute kind of an interview.
Okay.
It was at around 12:30 or 1. So I said, okay, if there are 5, 6 more interviews to go before number 8 comes, there's sufficient time. Let me go to my hostel and sleep. So I went to the hostel and slept. And hostel life, you don't have to change. I just loosened my tie, opened one button and went off to sleep with my shoes on. Woke up after 2-3 hours, went, number 6 was in at that point of time. So I asked the others, kya pooch rahe hain, kya? And it was a very general kind of interview. 2 people from our batch had done summer training there. They were also there. There were good set of 7 people, if I may say, there. So I said, okay, I'm 8th in interview. I'm also kind of 8th when it comes to the kind of people who have got shortlisted. No harm. At least I'll be getting a good experience of catching up. The interview was a 45-minute long interview. I reached, there was Mr. Gupta and the HR lady, I don't remember her name. They had a very interesting interview. They spoke about sports. They spoke about how late night do you sleep? What is your average time when you go to bed? Have you ever done an all-nighter? I said, yes, I've done twice in last 2 years where I didn't sleep for the whole day and then I slept the next day. In hostel, I think it's a very common fact.
Yeah.
Usually I used to sleep at around 4 o'clock. Then they asked about sports. And they asked me, okay. So I said I was the opening bowler for Jodhpur and number 4, number 5 batsman. So they said, okay, and what speed did you bowl at? So I said, sir, I have not played places where there's speed gun. Now it's a very common thing. In our time, Sweden was not very common. So I said, I don't know. All I know is when I bowl, people stand behind. So the wicketkeeper doesn't stand in front. That much I know. So that's my barometer. And if I am bowling well, the batsman wears a helmet. That much I can say. So when towards the end, he said that, okay, Vaibhav, our questions are done. Anything that you would want to say? I asked the lady in HR that you said that basis CV, 20 people have been shortlisted. Was that genuine or you just wanted to say? She said, genuinely, we have gone through all the CVs. So I said, okay, in that case, I thought you would have wished me the minute I entered. She said, why? I said, see, so they saw it was my birthday.
Wow. Okay.
So both of them stood up suddenly and said, happy birthday, happy birthday. I said, yes. So what do you plan to do? I said, depends. If you give me a gift, then celebrate. Otherwise, practice for the next round. So I said, okay, just wait. And they naturally shortlisted me. And not only shortlisted, they gave me the offer. And I think that a lot of people said, तुम्हारी birthday को तुमने utilize किया. मैंने कहा, it's not about birthday को utilize किया. जो opportunity है, utilize करो.
No, attention to detail. You actually called people out and stuff. You said you looked at it. You didn't. You didn't notice this.
Yeah. So
is that why it's a case study? People talk about it, the fact that...
Yeah. So people talked about that. you did not, the question you ask back,
Yeah.
the person, so you will get one opportunity.
Yeah.
And you get one opportunity to knock out your opponent. Can you hit it hard? So always be ready with some good question when you get an opportunity.
Wow. Wow. Interesting. Okay.
So that's the reason I said getting the job was fun. Later, the
So now then, starting work, right? Was it different than you imagined? The environment, people, not the same thing as college friends, obviously, but
yeah,
how was
very,
it?
very different. Uh, what happened then? I tell this to all B school students now when I go that in campus, in your college life and everything, you're reading about Kodak's versus Fuji case study and
Hmm.
A versus B and what did the CEO do for strategy. But as a management trainee, your main work is to just take orders and deliver. At least then. Nowadays, you still get a lot of opportunity as a youngster. Back in 2002, FMCG especially, you're given a task. Don't ask how, just do it. So those kind of things, first 6 months were difficult for me because we were thrown into villages, we were thrown into smaller towns. We were just given, okay, you have to sell this much. How you do it's up to you. So in fact, Pidilite had a concept of mentors. So our mentor was a very senior gentleman, Mr. Ghosh. I used to write every month. I was supposed to write a letter to the mentor, and I wrote that also. That ideally the mentor should be. And today it's very easy with WhatsApp and calls and everything. But ideally, mentor should be more available than just one letter which I am sending, and that too a physical letter, snail mail, not an email also. So those were certain things, and once or twice a month I would feel that why did I do my MBA if I'm supposed to do all this work? But then gradually you realize that at a management trainee you are groomed and you're thrown into all that because you can actually become a tougher man who can, or woman, who can take all those pressures, sit in a corner and still bounce back regularly.
Did that actually happen after the management trainee portion was over? What, 6 months or a year or what?
After a year, it got over. But after 6 to 9 months, actually, I started realizing why it was being done. Because the help that happened was I was posted in Ajmer. But when I started meeting, so I met a very good friend of mine now, Puneet, who's the creator of Mirzapur. He was a management trainee in Coke. So when you meet other management trainees or you meet people who have done the traineeship a year or two before, that's when you learn why you're doing. For around 6 to 9 months, first when I was posted in Ajmer, I did not have a single management trainee around me, someone who would have done the same thing last year. So you were just meeting, you have been given a target. Once a month, you're meeting your boss. You're getting a scolding if you're not delivering the target.
Yeah.
It's a slap or a clap. You do your numbers, people clap for you. You don't, something goes wrong. But after 6 to 9 months, I gradually realized why all that physical hardship was required. And now I tell a lot of youngsters that you should be working as hard as possible, but it's also about mentoring them at the right time. If you just leave them with the hard task, then a lot of people. So 30 management trainees joined in our batch. Only 12 actually finished a year.
Oh, wow.
18 left.
Okay.
Because I think a lot of them did not know what to do.
Because they were not given that help.
They were not given that help. You're just given a location and you're sent.
Yeah. And how long were you there?
I was there for around 2.5 to 3 years, 2.5 to 3 years. I was the third last or the second last management trainee to leave.
And where did you leave to?
I went and joined ICICI Prudential.
So, big change, industry, or you don't care? How did that happen?
Oh,
You look for that job? Was that also a very interesting job?
very interesting.
Of course it is.
Yeah, life has always been very
That's why we are
interesting.
doing this. Hence, the life being uncovered is a beautiful thing.
Beautiful thing.
There you go.
I never wanted to get out of FMCG. I loved FMCG. I hated insurance.
But you didn't
This
know
is a
insurance.
nice bite or a hook also.
Sure. That's a hook from now on. I hate insurance. But
I
hey,
hate it. Hey, but
who better to explain it than me?
to me, yeah, let's make it fun. So, I was through Coke and Godrej, these two companies.
Okay.
But the process was so long. It took around 4-5 months repeated. So I gave my first Coke interview in Jaipur. Then I was called for an interview. So actually, sorry, first I gave in Marol Naka. There was a walk-in for area manager. They said you're better suited for Rajasthan because your experience is in Rajasthan. So they transferred me to Jaipur. I gave an interview in Jaipur, which was followed by a HR round in Gurgaon. All this, when I was posted in Pune, all the travel costs were picked up by Coke. Just imagine the cost for them.
Yeah.
Picking up airfares then when there was no privatization kind of situation. So I went there. So this was, like I said, a 5-6 month long process. Same was the situation with Godrej. I was giving interviews. The same consultant on 30th called me, 30th November 2004, that ICICI Prudential is looking for some role opportunity. Would you be interested? I said, not at all. Insurance is not something I want to get into. I don't understand, and I'm very happy with FMCG. He said, okay. And the gentleman, Bhupesh Malhotra, a pretty senior gentleman at Pidilite, had a hatred for management trainees.
Okay.
Although I was not a management trainee anymore, but groomed from management trainee.
Yeah.
And I was the star area manager. They had a concept, the person with large base and fastest growing area was always known as the star ASM for the month.
Okay.
So I was the star ASM for last 4 months. November also I would turn out to be. And what they did, Mr. Bhupesh Malhotra did, was they stopped my billing on 30th at 5 p.m., which is factually right, because 5 p.m. the system should shut. But on month end and FMCG, the systems run till 12 o'clock. So I asked him, why have you stopped? He said, because 5 o'clock is the cutoff time. I said, but it's only for Maharashtra, Goa that is being stopped. If it was stopped for UP and Bihar and everywhere, then it's fine. That I don't care, but yours should stop, so stop. So at 5:30, then I called the consultant. Okay, I'm coming for the interview tomorrow. That's 1st of December. I went from Pune to Bombay. I drove down, gave the interview. IPRO at that point of time had a very fascinating system. The reporting manager and the HR person would sit in the room with a printer.
Okay.
If they like you, they gave the offer there
Wow.
and then you have to sign and accept, or you don't get it. You get blacklisted. So 1st of December, around 12:30, before lunch, I remember that, gave the interview. I said, मैं lunch खा के आऊँ? कहते, no, wait. This is the offer letter. You have 5 minutes to think about it. Not more. You don't have luxury of lunch. Sign and then have lunch, or sorry. So I saw the offer letter. I said, okay, I will sign. It was at same salary. I later realized I didn't negotiate for anything. I was drawing X. I went on X. Later realized that that X was actually slightly less because there was some tax component. So my take home reduced. But it was a good shift because since then, December 2004 onwards, I've been an insurance man.
Yeah.
Very interesting role. I was given the in charge role. In this, I was product and process head for rural India. So I asked my boss, Dushyant Mishra, very dear friend as of now, that why are you giving? I had this question always as an exit saying, why me? He said that insurance I can teach anyone, but understanding of rural market is someone who has done FMCG can only understand. So that's how my insurance journey started.
And how long were you there?
I've had a lot of small stints, but yes, I was there till 2006, April.
And then you take, कहते हो,
Deutsche.
जिंदगी में एक मोड़ आया और आप मुड़ गए. Right?
बहुत मोड़ पे मोड़ा.
हाँ, नहीं, वो
Yeah.
करते करते the
Yeah.
problem with बहुत सारा मोड़ है, you come back exactly where you started, which is not what you did.
No, actually, all my roles, if I tell you, none of the two roles were same. So here I was product and process head for
Yep.
rural, and Deutsche, I was the bank assurance for South Bombay
So you moved from there to Deutsche.
to Deutsche.
Okay.
And
Why move? Great role, everything is great.
good boss also.
Then?
At this age, again, I sometimes feel I should have told him what I was not liking. But so there was a concept in IPRO, which was a mid-year appraisal kind of a thing. So because I joined in December 2004, I was not eligible for an appraisal in May or May of 2005 because I was too new. I didn't know this concept. So I missed salary increments then. Then October, there was a realignment that could have been done. But again, for the entire team, it happened, not for me. Because I later realized that if you don't ask for increments, you don't get increments. So
Are
my
you
boss
serious?
said, all those who had asked, they got, you didn't ask. I said, I thought it's my right. If everyone is getting, I should get. And the last needle in the straw kind of situation was in March of 2000, actually not March, March sometime in 2006, when I'm from Nirma. 2006 parts out of Nirma were also picked up at iPro, and I had actually groomed them what to give an interview as a senior. I was telling this is what you should speak. Their management trainee take home salary or the package was more than mine. So I went to HR. I said, no, if it's a different college, I understand. Let's say it's IMA and
Sure.
Nirma, I understand that's a premier college and mine is not. But if it's from the same college, people who are 4 batches junior to me are getting more salary than me in the same company. You should realign at least, if not more than them, at least I should.
But you did voice this.
Yeah,
So
this I
time you
voiced
did.
to HR. This time I voiced to HR because my direct boss said that this is an HR issue, not mine, because management training is a HR policy. So I went to HR, raised the issue. They said, no, you should have negotiated when you were joining.
So it's your loss, basically.
So it's your loss. We give it to the management trainees, not to you. So I said, okay. And again, incidentally, Deutsche was opening up in India, their retail operations, and somebody new who called me. So actually 2006, when I gave that interview, was the last interview which I gave.
Now, so as we kind of talk about you moving into Deutsche in a different role,
Right.
there's a part in which you said, you mentioned that maybe I also learned that I didn't say what was bothering me early on.
Right.
As part of the stories and talking to a lot of people who know you is, do you believe that sometimes there's no point in saying or complaining because nothing will happen about it? It sounds a little defeatist when I say it.
Yeah.
But is there a practical side of you which says a lot of things, फायदा नहीं है, सुनेगा नहीं. बोलने का भी फायदा नहीं है. It's easier to walk away.
Some places, yes.
Do you kind of look at the person and saying there's no point in telling him or her? Is that how you make the decision, or?
I have made those decisions many a times. Later, sometimes I regret. Regret is a strong word. Feel I should have spoken. But I think
Do you do less of it now?
I still do. If I think that let me put it this way. If I feel that something is not going to happen, and
That's a call you take.
That's a call I take. I don't. But at this age, many a times I feel that it's better to hear a no than to assume that it would be a no.
In your words, if you don't try, you have already failed.
Yes. So I do try, but again, there are people.
If you don't ask,
yeah. So
there's
for
already a
example, sales has taught me that you keep on knocking doors. So there
Sure.
are people
but that's impersonal in some level, right? Because you're not emotionally, it's not about you.
Yeah.
But it matters that I'm not talking about asking for something, but sometimes it's just maybe clarity. Maybe like, oh, I didn't know. Maybe it's a miss in some ways. And I'm not just talking about increments and bosses.
No,
right?
no.
I'm talking, or anything to do with bosses. I'm just saying, there's no point in complaining because nothing good is going to come out of it. If that individual was going to do it, they would have done it. जरूर कोई reason होगा ये बदलेंगे नहीं.
No, I have moved on from that. That was very early in my career.
You're talking about very early in your career.
Yeah, but now, no.
Now, okay.
Actually, sometimes, for example, me calling you,
Yeah.
when I called you, I was reluctant because I tried to get in touch with you after my civil days, but you were in Hong Kong or you were still in civil, but we could not connect. I tried twice. But I think, no, it's okay.
No, it's
Yeah.
all right. Yeah.
But at this age, I've now realized with certain people, it's not that they are ignoring you. It's just that they may be genuinely busy in something.
Yeah.
So, example, I have to get in touch with someone I know, and I've just messaged him that I'll call you late in the night because there was some things that happened around me and I could not call him for the last 48 hours. Our brand ambassador at Inka is a dear friend of mine, Kumar Varun, KV, who's a quizzer. And I shot a podcast with him and I saw how many times his phone rang during the podcast and he could not answer. And I then realized that when he's in a shoot and the shoot can take a full day, naturally the phones would be locked in a way because it can create a buzz.
Correct.
So him not answering a phone for a day
doesn't mean that
he's ignoring. And at this age also, I tell a lot of friends of mine, people, if you're calling me and the phone is ringing, or if you're WhatsApping me and you can see my DP, that means I've not blocked you. that means I want to talk to you. If I don't want to talk to you, I'll block you. So
That's
I've blocked around, in my block list, there are around 186 people.
Wow.
Yeah. So
No, but these are all spam or known 186?
a lot of them would be known. People, okay, post-COVID, although I'm not coming to post-COVID
That's
era,
right. Yeah.
but still at this stage and maybe 7, 8 years in my history, if I may go, I've post-15, if I may say, post-15, 16, I have stopped interacting with people who create any kind of negativity in my life. So if I talk to you and when I finish talking to you, I'm a drained person, then it's better not to talk to you in totality.
It's a decision a lot of people don't make sometimes and get trapped in it.
Yeah.
And sometimes you become that person you don't realize that nobody's actually told you that you are taking away.
Yeah.
It's the genesis of friendship. You'll see that in kids as well.
Yeah.
And I've seen it. And I'm always amazed in some people being able to make that distinction for the health of everyone, even for the other person.
Exactly.
So I'll just tell, brief definition, for example, of empathy. And a lot of people confuse what empathy is. Empathy is believing that the person is doing the best they can.
Right.
So if somebody is being negative, and even if you're empathetic, a lot of times the best thing is to understand, accept it lives where it lies, and you let it be. But hearing you say it is powerful, because a lot of people who know you and the fact that how much you network and talk to people and extrovert and the energy you get, there are so many people that you have said, no, in my life, I cannot. These are all draining energy, draining things, and I can't afford that.
Exactly. At 40, actually, which was during the COVID
That's
era,
when-
I realized that most probably by actuarial calculation, my half clock has started.
Correct.
So now
This is the problem working
is
in insurance.
the
Everything
point-
goes through the actuarial table. Yeah.
But even if I look at any other tables, even let's say I live beyond 80, still
Yeah.
towards the second half, if not. So
Yeah.
it's a cricket equivalent. If it's your second innings, which I'm playing now, it's better to leave the balls which can take your wicket. So anyone who creates, including my best friend, childhood friend, he's blocked on my WhatsApp.
Okay.
Because we have had some issues on certain things, and we meet, but we don't WhatsApp each other.
Wow.
Yeah,
It's incredibly mature. And I think it's healthy in so many different ways, because a toxic relationship creates more negativity in some ways. You can't fix
Exactly.
it sometimes, and it's good for everyone. All right. So from there, let's kind of move a little bit from life stages. We're still talking about the same time.
Right.
You get married around
Yes.
the same time, right? When you're working,
I'm working.
right? And you're also planning to get another MBA, because God knows one was not enough.
From a
Right.
good school. That I later realized.
That's true.
Yeah.
So tell me, it's a big life moment,
Right.
right? Getting married. And then also at the same time, because by then you had decided that you're going to do the MBA in
Right.
Madrid.
Even before we got married, I'd
That's
given my GMAT and the score was ready.
You had explained this as this is the baggage I come with.
Yeah.
This
and
could happen.
could happen, because if I don't get through, I don't get through. But if I
That's
get through a good school, which I've shortlisted, then I may go.
Okay.
Yeah. And I did.
But what was the thinking? When did you kind of realize you're working at Deutsche now,
Yeah.
banker, and then saying, I need to get an MBA from a bigger school? Is that an epiphany? It was slowly building. Do you think it was limiting your growth, your career?
No, it actually happened in 2001.
Okay.
2002 is when I did my MBA from Nirma. During my Nirma days, I realized there's a difference. So coming from Jodhpur, I didn't know there was a difference between A, B, C kind of B schools. I'm not talking of Ahmedabad, Bangalore, Calcutta, but being an IIM or a Nirma or MDI or something. Gradually, when I left in 2002, that's when I realized there's a huge difference in pay scales and a lot of other things. And that's when I realized I'll go back one day. When? No clue, but one day I will. I was at Deutsche, and that's when I realized the difference between retail banking, investment banking, treasury, and all those things. And whether we like it or not, there's a cartel kind of a system between all these groups.
And there are scales.
And there are scales.
There's
and
an order.
Those cartels, if you want to get in,
Yeah.
you need to be from IIM ABC or XLRI or FMS or those groups.
Correct.
So I realized, okay, I at this age may not be able to go back, but can I get into a B school which is bigger than them globally? And let me give GMAT. So 2007 December is when I gave GMAT. 2008 I applied. I got through INSEAD. I went to INSEAD to take a day's class also. They have an open door kind of a policy. So I attended. Met a very dear friend of mine there, and he said that it's a bad time, which I realized later also with all the subprime crisis coming and everything. You go there with education loan, no placement, so it's better to opt out. So I opted out 2009 when I was getting married. I spoke to my wife, or at that point of time, to be wife.
Hopefully to be wife, because
hopefully
if
to be
you drop
wife.
bombs like this, they might block you.
Yeah. So that's what happened. And then 2010, 11 sometime I reapplied. Actually,
Same
10
GMAT
October.
or did you take the GMAT again?
No, GMAT is valid for 5 years.
Okay.
So it was
And it's
valid.
good enough that you didn't want to take it again.
It is
Plus you worked as well.
worked actually, yeah. And what I also realized giving my GMAT in 2007 December actually, that if I would have given GMAT at 2002 level, my scores would have been much better, because brain becomes slower as we age. So the peak performance of brain for GMAT and all these exams is 22, 23.
Oh, okay.
By the age you reach 28. So today at 45, if I give, naturally the performance would not hit that level. Speed and everything is very different.
So then Madrid, and you left, right? And how was that conversation at Deutsche at this point in time?
I actually moved from Deutsche to Macquarie.
Okay.
Macquarie was starting up in India. So if I look my entire career, from the day I was born till date, I've interestingly worked only in startup ecosystems. The hospital I was born in, I was the first child to be born in that hospital. And
wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a common thread in trying to look for one. It's like, you started up in a startup.
I started up in a startup. And it's a transition.
So the school existed before?
No, the St. Paul school where I was there was only till 9th when I reached. So I was in 5th, so it was going up. I was the 5th batch, so to say.
So, starting up.
Starting up.
We started the insurance business with you.
Air Force school was second batch. I was the second batch. College was the only place. Graduation was the only place which was an old college. Nirma was the third CAT batch. So we were 5th overall, but 3rd CAT.
Okay.
Pidilite, we were the 3rd or the 4th management trainee batch. They were starting. Deutsche was starting in India.
Yeah.
iPro Rural, I was the first product process head. Rural was starting in India. Macquarie was starting up in India. After that, IE is a startup college, by the way. IE is the Stanford equivalent for Europe. It's known as a venture capital B school. So incidentally, I reached there. DBS was starting Digibank when I joined DBS. TransUnion was starting insurance practice when I joined. HDFC, I headed something known as Digital Ecosystem, which was a startup ecosystem of HDFC Life. Co-founded Mahila Money. Now this. So
that's way too many coincidences, right?
Yes.
So the hospital thing especially. I was I was the first kid there. The first guy born. You go in there, my place. Wow. So a question on this, I guess in MBAs, and just to clarify, you talked about why you wanted to do this second MBA in a premier school. So it wasn't about you enjoying studying. Or do you enjoy studying? Do you imagine yourself now? You come from a family, your mom, in terms of how much she continues to study.
Right.
And learn. That's incredible. Mind-blowing. Very difficult for me to almost correlate to that. She has more masters than my entire family, and I come from a family of PhDs. Extended family,
yeah.
So for you, was that important? Like, what about studying, or is it about a means to an end? At least the MBA is.
Then it was means to an end.
Okay.
Recently, when I discussed with our founder teams and everyone, a few of us, but for me, for sure, the day I have got enough capital that I don't need to earn more, I want to go back to education.
Please don't say one more MBA.
Not MBA.
Okay,
for sure, but could be MBA also. Because what I've realized, sir, is
every decade it's taught differently. I'm not one, so I don't know.
Absolutely.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. So I was telling this to someone, and in fact, in my other episode also, I've said the same thing, that 2000, 2002, most of the case studies were about Kodak, Fuji, a lot of other things which were Toyota, GE, Kanban principles of Honda and all those things is what I studied. 2011 and 12 when I did, all my case studies were about Apple, Starbucks, Google, Netflix, the
And
FANG,
now
if I
you.
may say.
Hmm.
If I go back to school now, right now I can't, but let's say in 3, 4 years, all the case studies would be about AI, the chat GPTs, and the revolution that they. So, core principle of business may remain the same across generations, but the way they are delivering, I think
This
that
is
keeps on
changing.
changing in every 10 years.
Wow. Yeah, that's true. And that part of those stories or that learning, you think that's a great learning environment to actually learn in depth about these stories, basically?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Especially what has happened, I maybe in a few years in India also it may happen. But when I studied there and you have also studied outside, it's not so much about academics, it's about learning.
Hmm.
So I may have gone for a job or may have gone for something, but in those 15 months over there, the kind of learning I got
Hmm.
was phenomenal. And that's when I realized there is no concept of day zero placement and companies lining up or something. You have to search for your own job.
Yeah.
You have to network with people, you have to talk, you have to do assignments with them and get yourself placed.
Okay.
So it's not about money there, not about learning. And I think I would love to go back again into academics in whatever way. Keep
Okay.
on learning because something new keeps on happening.
Okay. Interesting. So when you kind of look at this aspect of, let's say going back to school. Now you talked about your motivation, understanding why there is a layer in terms of top school and all that stuff. Was there external pressures or perception that was driving you, or was it fully internal motivation? I think our people, is it because of how others looked at you, or is it because of how you looked at yourself?
It was because of how I looked at myself.
That question was too easy. You'll always give
No,
that
I'll
answer.
tell you
Nobody said,
why.
"Nahi, nahi, sir."
No, no, I'll tell you why. What happened is, I was always into sports, not never into academics in a big way. I would study. I would always, like I said,
You
fourth to
did well.
seventh,
Yeah.
decently well, because I think I was blessed with good DNA and brain and everything. So less of education, less of effort also would give me decent result, but heart was in the ground. So if given a choice, I would not study, but be found on the cricket ground or football
Yeah.
ground or
Yeah.
something. So I've played district level in 8 or 9 sports. So you name and I was on the ground. For the first time in my life is when I reached Pidilite and I was the area manager of Maharashtra Goa where I said no, 4, 5 back-to-back star ASMs and my name was published in the magazine to be as the news magazine of Pidilite. That's when I tasted success for the first time. And it was a very sweet taste of beating everyone and coming number one in the country.
Hmm.
And that's when I then realized, can I be number one? In Deutsche, also when I joined, in iPro, there was no concept of number one because in product and process, it's a simple thing. But in sales, you get an opportunity of outshining and everything. When I was in Deutsche, for first 2, 3 months, they were slightly bad for me. But after the second quarter, if I may say, after the 5, 6 months, South Bombay was back to back winning trophies as number one performing insurance area.
Mm-hmm.
I got promoted. I started taking over national roles, and that's where actually I met Sati. He was looking after the third party distribution of credit cards and things, and insurance was one of the products he had. And one of the insurance lines I was also looking at was credit cards. So it was like a portion
Okay.
of a subset for
Yeah.
me. And what Sati and I did together was phenomenal. It was first time in the country in any bank, credit card sold more insurance than retail bank.
No.
That's what Sati and I did, largely he, but I was present over there. But that kind of success, once I tasted, I realized there's no looking back. And that's the reason I said, okay, if I have to be successful in this place. And by that time, the dream of Mercedes and money and everything had gone. At that time, it was that I will not stop till the time I reach the top spot. So, top spot means the CEO and MD of whichever
For
organization
that,
you
you
are
need
in.
this.
And if you are looking at a Deutsche or Citi or any, because I was a part of Macquarie and these banks, most of the CXO roles were part of those B schools. And they would end up pulling each other.
Correct. It's that club, so therefore you have to have that.
You have to have that. And so that's the reason from 2002, when I passed out, till 2007, I didn't think of GMAT. It was there somewhere in my mind, okay, padenge.
Then it got.
But then I said, okay, if I have to break into that, my performance can take me till a level where
So
the CEO.
success actually motivated you to break that final barrier that you saw. The second,
Yeah,
that's a
I
limitation.
thought that could be one of the barriers. I did not want that barrier to come in my way of growth.
And is that something that you have effectively explained to others, or because from the outside in, a lot of people say you're doing well. You yourself described it. You're doing very well. What in God's name are you doing? You're leaving everything and now going. You are married. Your wife is expecting your first child.
Right.
Really? Right? That type of reaction.
Yeah.
So, did you explain that to people? Or like all that you kind of said right now in terms of why you're doing it?
So, two parts to it. One is blessed to have a great wife and great family. She could have kicked me, but she supported, and the entire family supported, both sides of the family. So that way I was blessed. If I was not, I could not have left my HDFC life job and started something like this. So that was one thing. Second, a lot of my friends did ask me, you're getting a great job, decent salary. I was at a decent pay at Macquarie. And if you look at the average placement slabs also of IE, it is the same salary which you're drawing right now. So why would you want to leave? And there's no, in India, you look at ROI.
That's
You're
right.
spending X amount of money in education. Why don't you get?
And you came back and joined?
I came back and started working on my own with a friend of mine. We were doing consulting on social media assignments. 2012 and 13 did that. Then joined DBS at I think 40% pay cut. So what I was drawing at Macquarie, I took a 40% pay cut to get back to corporate life.
Okay. And that's what I guess folks were talking about even earlier, saying
Even
that's your
earlier.
ROI.
Yeah. So didn't have any ROI, but still no regrets. I'm super happy, made great friends, great learning. I still flaunt my college photographs where there are, in my section, there were around
premium college. Yeah. So you achieve that in terms of a tier 1 type of a school. And to your point, that the kind of school it is, it actually helps you maybe now and forever help.
Forever.
And the network is only a network if it's used well, right?
Absolutely.
So if it's not used well, if you just have names, doesn't matter. But you have lived that life. And you lived abroad and you studied, by the way, with a kid in hand.
With a kid in hand. I have a few photos of him in my hand, bottle in the mouth, and me finishing my marketing assignments. Interestingly, I bought a pair of glasses. I don't know whether my wife told you about them. These were glasses, the Superman kind of frame.
Okay.
And they had lights over here. So I would switch on those lights. And in the dark also you could read. So the lights are going only at the material.
So the rest of the place stays dark so the kid can.
So the kid is sleeping and you are finishing your assignments. And my son had a very interesting, touchwood, I'm very happy that he had. But he had this thing that he wanted only the father, not the mother, to sleep on the lap. It was so much of a crisis that we were flying once in Qatar, Madrid to Doha. And then naturally when the flight started and Vidur was howling, the air hostess asked, "Ma'am, why are you not holding?" I said, "The kid will feel comfortable only with the father."
So great. So now let's move to the stage post the pandemic. And I think a lot has been said, a lot of people in terms of the pandemic and how it changes and has changed people in terms of behavior, views about family and such. But I want to kind of focus also, and I'm sure that will come up in terms of those, year and a half, or the beginning of it. But your large part of your entrepreneurship journey, right? You had some elements of that even before that, was post the pandemic, right?
Right.
Was there a trigger? Was there something around the pandemic that said to you that I have to do something my own, or was it circumstances?
So I'll take a step back. 2011-12, when I was at IE, we used to study a lot of case studies, and we had to do a mandatory venture lab thing, where you had to build a startup on paper and do your pitch kind of a situation, and maybe even build a MVP. So all of us did it, and I did something around sports. So it was known as, in the sense, me and my friends made a team. It was known as Sportsonizer, where you become a platform where you're organizing sports. And today it's become quite common that you want to play paddle. You've come here, you want to find someone who's playing paddle. There's a community and you play. So that's what we had built in 2011-12. And back then, a friend of mine and we were talking about various startups, successful startups. And during our classes only, Instagram was bought over by Facebook for $1 billion. And we had a case study. Then that, was it a decent valuation, right, wrong, and multiple things. So I spoke to this friend of mine who was also of Indian origin but American that way. That why would you say that all the fangs and big startups come from US and why not from India? So we had Flipkart starting up,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
but those were very early days.
that's right.
And back then, I had told him that one day I will definitely be building something for the world from India. When you have got 125, 130 crore population, we had not beaten China by then. Why can't we have a product which is for the world from India? That was the thought. I never thought of Mahila Money, Inka, or anything, but back of my mind, I had this that I will be building something someday.
Okay.
When and what, no clue, but it has to be of scale. It can't be a small thing which is good enough for 1,000 people or 1,500 people.
Okay.
It has to be something that the world notices.
So did those elements were they met post-pandemic? Did you feel that there are these opportunities which can be big
Yes.
from India for the rest of the world?
Yeah. So when I got the opportunity of building Mahila Money, so I got a call from Sairi and we were talking and she said, "This is the profile. Would you be interested? Would you know someone who will be interested?" I said, "I'll jump in." And so two started and then third and the fourth co-founder came in and the company was built and everything. The thought for me was the same because at IE we had done a lot of cases of women MFI funding in Brazil, Colombia and other places. And every year actually the contest was won by someone who was building those kind of products for Latin America. And I knew that it's a huge market. Today, if it's successful here, it can be taken to other countries. So that was the thought with which I had joined. Later, things didn't materialize and things the way it went.
Sure.
But yeah, that was the thought then. And Inka also, when we started, and we spoke also, when we spoke, the thought, and that's the reason the name Inka came in. It's a Hindi word, which means your own. It also is a Latin American tribe, which is INCA.
Yeah, I think.
But
Yeah.
the king or the ruler of INCA is INKA.
Okay.
So it's the supreme ruler. So that's the thought that tomorrow, if I want to take it international, also it's a ready name. Thanks to you, you had connected me to someone in the UAE bureau, if you remember.
Yes.
And last week I was talking to the head of Middle East Zurich advisory platform, Dinesh. He's an old friend of mine. He is also talking if we can bring Inka to UAE along with Zurich to build advisory platform. So the beauty of how we have built Inka from day one is that it's not only meant for India. It's like a Uber kind of a model which can be replicated immediately in any country, wherever at least bureau is present. No one better than you who understands bureau. But largely what I understand when I worked with Robin and others is variables are pretty much similar. It's not exactly the same.
For sure.
But it's pretty much the similar. If bureau is present, you can build things around there. And that's the reason the thought is first, India is a huge market. Let's not remove the focus from here. But if we get an opportunity of putting in less effort, it can be easily replicated in Southeast Asia and Middle East to start with and maybe globally. Interestingly, this again you may not know, we participated in a Hong Kong based HSBC contest of fintech startups and naturally hundreds of startups applied. We reached the final 10. We could not reach the final 5 because they were supposed to be based in Hong Kong. So we could not immediately.
When was this? Was this
6-7 months back?
Okay, so this is recent. So
recent.
The product and everything else is real now. It's live in the market.
Real now. They did the testing. They loved it. They kept on taking us. So we reached the final demo session. But the top 5 who were supposed to present in Hong Kong were supposed to be somewhere having an office in Hong Kong so they could physically present. But we were very happy that HSBC Hong Kong loved what we are building.
Beautiful. Now, so let's kind of turn the clock back a little bit.
Yeah.
The beginnings of Genesis of Inka. So I know the story as you've told me.
Yeah.
So why? Or how did this start? So maybe I think it's important for you to tell that story a little bit in terms of what's the genesis of Inka advisory platform?
So it all started in Feb and March of 23.
Hmm.
I was on my way moving out of Mahila Money. But having said that, I would still be participating in my school college WhatsApp groups. And few of my friends from school and from graduation days shared stories of how they were missold insurance.
Okay.
And one of them actually in both the groups shared. And what happened was, I'm sure in your groups also, if one criticizes a product, there are 10 who jump and say, yeah,
Always.
है. And by the time the 11th person comes, he criticizes the entire industry कि सब चोर है. So I said, सब नहीं चोर है, सब हो सकते हैं, थोड़े बहुत हों, but not 100%. So what I can do for you maximum is there's a coffee shop where I'll be sitting from 3 to 5 having my cup of coffee in the afternoon, not morning, so people should not be coming, but 3 to 5 in the afternoon. Anyone who wants to ask me anything on their insurance needs, just drop in. I'll be there. Coffee is on me. Ask your questions. You have a policy, bring it. You don't have a policy, don't bring it. And one thing is guaranteed, I'll not be selling you. Because I don't have any license or anything. I'll not be selling you. And at the same time, when you move out of a startup in a slightly toxic way, you also want to let go of things which I said, like, for example, blocking people, and just want to clean the system. So I started playing cricket again. So a friend of mine who was opening bowler of Jodhpur along with me runs an academy, Arun Khorial. Arun runs this academy where there are a lot of under 19 Jodhpur under 19 kids who play. So I would play cricket early in the morning with him. It was a very refreshing feeling back on the ground, and pacers again throwing balls at me. But afternoon I would catch up for a coffee. And first 1 week I did not have every day every one. So basically there were 4 people on 7 days that came. But gradually momentum started picking up. There's this gentleman, I can't recall his name, Bengali gentleman who was a part of ops team in Sibyl. He is now with HSBC in Bangalore or Hyderabad, backend basically. He also, Shavik also messaged me on LinkedIn that I see your post, but I can't travel to Jodhpur for a coffee. Can we catch up on Zoom? So I caught up with him on Zoom. Then I said, okay, others can also come and talk to me on Zoom. So I spoke to around 100 odd people physically as well on Zoom. And what I realized, when I say 100, first it was one-on-one. Towards the end, it was a masterclass kind of thing. People would come, discuss their problems together, 7, 8 of them. Largely, people had basic understanding mismatch. So there's a very dear friend of mine, Vikas Panikar. Vikas is with TCS, I think, for 20 plus years. And when he was talking to me on his insurance, towards the end, he said, health or life alag hote hain. I said, alag plans hote hain. You can't have the same policy taking care of hospital bill and in case of death, the money coming. So there are different plans. And I realized people in corporate world, people very well educated, it's not that it's the mass market not understanding. This cream layer also of the country doesn't understand insurance. And at that point of time realized that I've been 20 years plus in the industry. We always in every annual meeting used to say penetration is poor, 3.5%, 3.7, be it Swiss Re report, Munich Re. Reports would come, but no one understood that education is missing. It's not that distribution is missing. Today you go out, you have got hundreds of agents, lakhs of agents selling. But because education is missing and some mis-selling has happened, trust is missing.
Correct.
So I don't trust anyone and I don't know anything. What will I do? I will not buy. So it's better to be safe than sorry was the concept. But people ended up being sorry when they reached hospital. Today, if you go and talk to hospitals, 90% plus people reaching hospitals don't have insurance.
Wow, that high number.
That's high number. Some hospitals, it may be 70, but on an average, so yesterday I was talking to someone who was part of Hiranandani Hospital and he came out and he said, I want to do something because I was in the admin, now I've retired. And it was so painful that a lot of patients would get discharged early. The treatment was still on. They said, paise khatam ho gaye. Please discharge me. And I don't have insurance. So the point which I realized while doing that, and I had not done this kind of research because I was busy distributing.
Yes, right.
That 20 lakh households every year, if you multiply household into 5 or 6 members per household, so close to 1 crore people go below poverty line because of
hospital bills,
health related expenses or hospital bills and not having financial planning. So people are losing. So if 1 crore people are getting below poverty line, it's not that everyone is below. A lot of them may move from, let's say, X middle income to
Down
lower
to
income. But 1 crore people moving into poverty line every year in this country because insurance is not there with them.
wow.
So that's when I realized it is short required. And then we did a lot of digging, a lot of credit to Antler, who was our fund, because we were initially making B2B distribution.
No, but before you get to Antler,
Yeah.
right? So right now you're convinced that there is a there,
Yes.
right? So this is education, and lack of education creates lack of trust, and therefore
I would say knowledge, if
Yeah.
not education.
Okay.
Yeah.
So lack of knowledge,
Yeah.
bad experiences.
Correct.
Assume that because somebody else had a bad experience, it must all be
Correct.
bad, and so on and on.
Yes.
Creates an issue. So you were then convinced in your head there is something there for a gap that I believe that since you did it,
Right.
actually one-on-one, saying, I think there's a huge opportunity in here because that's the path to distribution, right?
Correct.
Then, of course, you got other people along.
Right.
So these people who came along with you, so just the first few people are saying buyers into the original dream.
Right.
Was that all a personal connection that drove it, or the story, or both?
Actually, personal connection and little bit of story. So when I say initial backers or initial people who joined the journey, I would split it into two: people who were forming it with me and people who were investing in me.
Yeah, forming. I'm talking about the forming right now. I'm not talking about the investing with you.
Okay, the people who joined the team.
That's right.
So Abhay
Yeah.
was the first person along with Gaurav. Abhay and I have worked together for a long time.
Yeah.
And it's kind of an unwritten rule. Whatever I do, he joins along with me. And it was a genuine problem also, which he saw. So he didn't move out of Mahila Money for a very long time. But when I started forming and he had quit because he was also wanting to move. So he was asking, kahan jaun, kya karon? I said, this is what I'm making. This is a genuine problem. Would you come and help me? He said, okay, I've already moved. I don't have anything.
Okay.
Let me come and join the journey.
Okay.
And then he sat, before he said a final yes, he sat in few of my master classes
Acha.
to see.
How?
I may
Yeah.
say, but is it genuinely? Because all of us from the insurance domains have a blinder kind of thing because we know so much. We
That's
don't
right.
assume that people would not know such a basic fact.
That's right.
For example, today, my number is published on many platforms, including newspaper. So I, on an average, get 5 to 8 customers calling me directly. And hence, you would see I answer unknown numbers also.
That's
because
right.
It may be a customer calling me. And out of those 8 calls, at least 5 or 6 are those people who are actually already diagnosed of cancer or some terminal ailments. Now they're not insurable. Who would inform them that you should ideally buy insurance when you're healthy? So, not disclosing because it's a confidential thing. There's a person, very senior banker. He said that no, I've been diagnosed of cancer a few years back, and this is the story, and the things can I take? I said sorry, and he said why not? Because I've been diagnosed. I said, let me take a bureau example with you. You have to give a loan. The person has 400. Will you give? He said no. I said, that's the concept. You have insurance as a pool of risk
Yeah.
of healthy people. If someone within those healthy
Then
falls sick, then the insurance will come in. Because it's a probability game. If you're already sick, it's not probability. It's a short expense.
Correct.
So it's
So
not
you end up
insurance.
spending what you would spend without insurance.
Exactly. So that's the reason I sought. And so Abhay joined in then.
Yeah.
Gaurav was a very dear friend, still is a very dear friend, school friend. Gaurav was helping me find a CTO. I said, I need a CTO / co-founder to help me in the journey. He fixed a few people in the journey and I met them. A few of them were decent but not fitting. Few of them were not fitting. So none of them actually got on the journey, and Gaurav was free at that point of time. Gaurav said, I've just wrapped up whatever that I was doing. Would it be okay if I join? Because I feel this is a genuine problem. I've sat and seen, and we are friends. I said, okay. He was initial engineer in the Flipkart journey. He was the founding CIO of delivery. He has done a lot of other things. I said, you have done 0 to not 1, but 0 to a million kind of thing.
Yeah.
Please do come in. And Tejesh, who's now the CTO, led our engineering along with him. Tejesh and I had also worked earlier at Mahila Money. Tejesh was still a very interesting character. He said, I will come because I like you, but I will come only when I think there's sufficient work. I don't want to come if there's no work. So I said, okay, come as a consultant for a month and see for yourself. If you think there's work, then you join. He said, okay, I'm free. I can come as a consultant. And only if I think there is job which I can do, be of any value add. And you can keep me busy. I don't want to work only for the sake of working. Because we said, we'll pay you salary. He said, salary is not a concern. Anyone can pay. Give me job which
The quality of work.
excites me, or the quality of work that keeps me busy.
Okay.
So he joined in with that. And then when he started seeing that there is genuine work, because
He came
what
full
happens
time.
in startup is many a times people build, and not against anyone, but a lot of startups are built with dream, but there's no work from a tech coding perspective, building infra and everything. But once he was here, he saw there was so much of work that he said, okay, I'll join. So these were the first four people who
So it is a
became.
combination of, well, it is all personal connection at some level, but there's also this belief around, I agree that there is a problem. I
Absolutely.
agree there is a lot of work, so therefore it must be real. Now, those versions of it. So let's kind of then fast forward maybe, and includes obviously the part at the partnership with Antler and other investors, or even investors before that,
Right.
who I sure also was personal as well as believers in this.
Right.
Because some of them are industry stalwarts, if you will.
Correct.
Talk to me about maybe a 12 to 18 month window where, so there is euphoria. There are people backing you, maybe the first time we met, right?
Right.
After that, did you see a dip in terms of energy, or you imagine it'll be easier? Was there a moment where it kind of went, I'm not saying sideways,
Right.
but it was slower than you imagined it to be? Was there a time period? We're talking about the last 2.5 years that it's been real, but
Yeah.
was there, my guess is usually these things happen around the 18th month or 12 to 18th month where things go, the euphoria kind of fades away.
So there were days when we thought the things would not look as shiny tomorrow. But I think so one of the learning, and which a lot of people said I should do, and I did luckily, and I tell to every founder now, is you should always have co-founders, because you may have a bad day, but the co-founder would not have. So if you are alone and you have a bad day, whom do you talk to? So that was one thing. Two is the fact that there were situations when we would meet people, and they would, because they were not getting their regulatory license, they would say, ye nahi milta hai, wo nahi hota hai, and you are applying for it, you still don't know whether you will get or not. 10 others are facing the rejection letter and things. So those were sometimes when we felt, have we picked up a wrong battle?
Yeah.
Because regulator is beyond us. But luckily we got our license on time and everything. And when we got, it was a euphoric moment, because we actually got it in kind of a record time.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed. But and a lot of credit to a lot of people. But those were moments, and
But did you have,
otherwise,
sorry to interrupt, but
yeah.
did you have moments of self-doubt? And I don't mean self-doubt in any negative way. I think it's
Right.
if you don't have doubt, then there is no room for faith and
Right.
belief. So did you have self-doubt at that time? Have I bitten off too much? Did I imagine this? Got other people along as well? Did you have any of those?
No, that I didn't ever had. The only thing which I was thinking at that point of time, and not only me, the other co-founders and the team, was, should we pivot into something else? Because the product is ready. Can we do a B2B where we don't need a license? Should we use someone else's license and ride on that, and a lot of other things? So the B2B thing was still on the plate, but using someone else's license, I'm just sharing this because a few of the other co-founders are doing this, and they asked us to do, not our co-founders, I'm saying other founders, let me put it that way. But we very categorically said no to that, because, and I've seen actually two of them go down, because if you use anyone else's license, which is absolutely cardinal sin, and the regulator sees, there could be
Then
significant
risk of ruin.
Exactly. So we said from day one, on two things we will stick. One, the tech infra we build, or the architecture we build, has to be for huge scale. And two, not even for a minute we will do anything which is not regulated.
Okay.
Because we saw what happened to Paytm Payment Bank. We saw a lot of other things happen. So you may be listed, you may be a unicorn, but if the regulator comes on you for any small mistake also, you're dead.
Yeah.
So it's better to be slower for some time, but to be 100% compliant, and also to make sure you're building for scale, because there could be a viral moment and suddenly you get a lot of people, but you can't scale. So we have done these two things from day one.
Okay. Okay. Now, when you kind of talk about your story and everything that you did before as well, right? And we talked about conflicts in different ways and knowing your own power and deciding not to do things not because you can't, but you shouldn't, right? In those sense as well. And different types of conflicts from a leadership standpoint of creation, external conflicts, internal conflict, client conflicts, co-founder conflicts. It could be so many different things that actually exist. So one of the common things in stories that I've heard about you is that you look at conflicts as not to avoid, but a door that opens up to go and resolve. Right? Do you see yourself doing a lot more of that as a founder right now than before? I'm not talking about too much emphasis made on decision making, but it's about helping solve the problem and resolving things and almost the excitement of a problem in some ways. Do you see a lot more of that right now that you're doing?
So,
and it's different than when you were kind of part of a larger team.
So when I was part of a larger team, less of conflict, but I think what I've become now in last 2 years, 2.5 years, is more of someone who has to be a master of multiple things. A lot of people say master of one and jack of multiple, but here you have to be master of multiple. So from the point of understanding of term sheets, of regulations, or of how finance works, how the payment works, how an SHA account is opened as a different thing. These are not the things to name a few, which as a business person in any of my corporate jobs I looked at.
Yeah.
Neither did I look at tech products. So for example, when I would go to Kamak, TRL ka nahi chal raha hai ya kuch, my work was the TRL should be on or the bureau score should be on, irrespective of whether the API nahi hai, ye nahi hai, wo nahi hai. Now as a CEO or founder, whatever I would say, my also work is to wear the tech hat and understand uski tech ki kya genuine problem hai. Yeah, product side. So those kind of things do happen. But to make sure that these conflicts are as minimal as possible, what we've done is, be it Ankit, be it Abhay, Tejesh, Mridla, the leaders have been given very specific tasks and sense of ownership. So if something is owned by Ankit on the product side, others may have some suggestions, but his word is the final word. So if you give that kind of authority to people who are adult enough, I think the conflict to a large extent is dead. But do happen sometimes, but I don't think that conflict happens the way it happens in other places.
Okay. Now let's kind of talk about the larger team as well. Right? One of the things that is critical to who you are is about emotional connection with people.
Right.
As when you are on the growth journey and scaling and being adamant about certain things and pushing people in a good way, by asking them to push you too, right? To be able to resolve problems. In that, do you see yourself having a different style now from an emotional connection, or do you think that doesn't stop you from doing or being as effective? Your natural style, or the something that you've always done, emotional connection across the organization.
I think it's the same for me, whether I was in my previous role at HDFC, for example, my last corporate role, or here. One of the things that happened at HDFC Life in my last role, I joined them as a vice president and head of particular practice, which is digital and emerging ecosystem. And in a lot of corporate, not at Sibyl, but a lot of banks and traditional organizations, cubicle size is according to your grade.
Great, that's right.
And perks like, for example, at the level I joined, I had got a big cubicle, which was like a semi-room with table and two people who could come and sit across the table. There was a boy who was assigned to me who would bring all the bottles filled for me, water bottles and coffee and tea. Someone who was below me would have a smaller cubicle, but coffee coming to his table and things like that. I opted for the lowest one, which is the deputy manager, which is a running table. I sat over there and HR raised an issue that how can you sit there? You're a vice president. I said, a deputy manager sitting at a vice president can be an issue. But why is it that a vice president is sitting and a deputy manager is an issue? They said, no, because then other deputy managers are saying, why are their bosses not sitting? I said, my issue is I've got a team of 17 people. Out of 17, 8 are management trainees, which are deputy managers. So my 50% of the team is this. I would prefer sitting with them.
Yeah.
Which is, I think, more of a startup ecosystem. What ended up happening was Abhay and all others also in the team who were AVPs and senior managers and others, they also shifted to the deputy manager cubicles. So we as a team had a block.
You normalize, you basically.
We said we will sit here. So this becomes like a big room, open room in the overall floor. So did that in corporate, but I think overall style of mine, and I give a lot of credit to sports for that. And on the ground, whether you are captain or the 11th player, barring the field adjustment, rest delivery has to be the same. If you don't deliver, you are out of the team.
Yeah.
So I think that's what.
Okay. And so now kind of looking at obviously startups, and you said from your beginning of life, you've started up as part of startups. So risk taking. Do you worry about this not going according to plan?
No.
You don't worry about it?
I don't.
That answer came too quickly, by the way. I'm not saying that you're lying.
No.
But you can't afford to think, or you genuinely don't see.
So I don't want to fail. I don't like to fail. But I don't have the fear कि अगर fail हो गए तो क्या होगा? Because there are two big advantages I have, I feel. One, a very strong family support system. So worst case situation, for example, I'm not drawing salary for some time, but my father is supporting me financially. So I know even if I don't do, even if I fail, there is a family that will support me. So that's one. Two is the knowledge I have and the network I have. I don't think this is the last thing I'm doing with respect to what I'm doing. We will be growing in kind of big time, but for whatever may happen, I know I am way bigger when it comes to what I have achieved till now. I can do way more. So I don't have that fear कि अगर ये नहीं चला तो मेरा क्या होगा.
Okay. And what about the team? A lot of them joined because of you.
Right.
Do you feel that pressure of responsibility to them?
Yes, that I have. But I, again, still don't have any fear of if this doesn't work, what will happen to them. There are two facts to that. One, and which I've told in my previous startup also, and it happened, two of them were let gone because of downsizing. But within 15 days, I got them placed. So I've told my team in my previous startup and this startup, for whatever reason, if I have to let you go, not because of your quality of work, but because of some financial reasons, nature of the startup, I will make sure that in 15 to 30 days you have a job. So you will not be without a job because you're working with me. That much of connections and network I have in the ecosystem, luckily, that there would be people. If you're a good performer, I can get you a job. So I don't have that fear. But I do have made sure that even someone who's fresh out of college has joined has ESOPs. I want them to grow with me. So instead of having the fear कि इनका क्या होगा, I want all of them to have their own Mercedes before the IPO.
That's true.
Yeah.
Beautiful. So you actually talk about this scaling. You talked about it from India to the rest of the world.
Right.
You also talked about one day going public and making sure it's a really, really big thing.
Yeah.
Right? What does that mean to you? Is that, and again, we talked a lot about, you're not a guy who talks a lot about external validation. You're not trying to show anybody anything. But why that? Why is that a goal? Why is an IPO, for example, or one success measure? Why is it?
So, 2-3 parts to it. Keeping IPO aside, because IPO is kind of a benchmark or a barometer for a successful startup to be successful. But for me, I need to always. Okay, I'll take a step back on that. 2007, Vodafone, Hutch merger and things were on, and there was a gentleman, Mr. Mr. Sareen, the global Vodafone head.
Yeah.
Don't remember his first name. He was coming to India to sign the deal. And Economic Times cover page had an article about him traveling to India and his biography and everything. And then that's the time in 2007, maybe an external validation or something. But I said, this is where one has to reach in life, that what you do is the cover page story of Economic Times.
Okay. So then you have arrived.
Then you have arrived in life. So
the phone number is cover page of Economic Times.
At this time, there was a photograph as well. But that's a paid one. So,
it's true.
Yeah. Correct. So the point is, you and your movements should impact the economy in that level that people are sitting up and noticing what you're doing next. That's where I think I would like to reach.
Okay.
Not Jodhpur knowing, today Jodhpur knows, or maybe Rajasthan knows, but if Inka does a product, for example, we launched something known as Inkapreneur with Bajaj, and a lot of people on social have covered, but I still think only 1% or half a percent of the country knows about it.
Hmm.
You
So you want to
need
make
to
sure.
reach a place where what you do,
But why? Why do they need to know? Why is that important to you?
I think that's one of the things which I think I may be able to achieve, which I have not been able to. I somehow feel it's not external validation, or maybe I don't know. I'm not a psychologist that way, but the aim. Okay, I don't know how it would sound. It may sound extremely. I don't want to use those words, but absurd or
Yeah,
too much
go
of
for it.
myself. But this started in Libya when I was, because we started Libya at the age of 5, 6, and 7. Basically, at that age, I decided that whatever I do in my life, I have to be number one in the world. And a lot of people don't know this, that at that age I started uh, controlling situations which, for example, if there's a joke and you want to laugh, I would laugh, and then I would talk to myself, can I control my laughter? That there's a great joke, but I don't laugh. Can I control my emotions to a certain level that I don't let them come out? If I can't control my emotions, my anger, my uh, happiness beyond a level, then I am letting go of too much. I started to a certain level, thought of, if I want to be too good, if I want to be best, can I? Naturally, I can't control. I end up speaking.
Control yourself and control as much as you can. Yeah.
Control as so you can't control external factors if you can't control yourself.
But at 5, 7, you were
I
thinking
don't
about
remember the exact age. I know it was Libya, so
sure
it could be
10,
no. It
12,
was not 10.
13,
It was before
30.
8. Before 8,
Yeah.
and that's one of the reasons I've never consumed alcohol. I am a teetotaler. I don't drink,
Yeah.
not because of any other factor, but I think alcohol is one of the things that may
Impair.
impair that point of time where I may lose control on myself.
Okay.
Uh,
But this is practiced in some ways that you've taught yourself. Can I stop laughing now? Can
yeah.
I stop? So instead of reacting, how do I act? So you are able to kind of slow time. Is that
Slow,
everything around reaction, physical stuff? You're aware of a lot more.
if you can be aware of yourself and control yourself, I thought of that point of time. And since then, there have been moments where I've forgotten that I want to be the best. But there is this SRK song, Fir Bhi Dil Hindustani, I'm the best, I'm the best. It's one of the songs I generally play at when I'm driving. There's, whatever you do, if you're not the best, then what's the fun of doing? And that's where, so do I draw a boundary line? So when I was young, I wanted to be best in Jodhpur.
Yeah.
When I reached Bombay and I was looking at the country or the world and things like that, I said, okay, can I be best in the country for whatever I'm doing? So that was the thought always, and it continues to be. And somewhere, when I kept on hitting those targets and reaching at number one position, it was next what big, next what big.
Is there anything that you won't do to achieve that? What's kind of out of bounds? So that's the end goal, but it's
Any,
not at any cost.
no, it's not at any cost. Anything that I think is morally or ethically wrong, which will not let me sleep in night, I will never do. I wear this watch not because of I can I show, yeah, it's 79 right now. With respect to sleep, I monitor my sleep. For me, I'm slightly okay. I'm pretty overweight, not slightly, but my cholesterol, touch wood, triglycerides, sugar, everything is under control. My belief is, if you sleep well, a lot of things, and if you can remove stress from your life,
Hmm.
uh, your health is okay. Overweight should be better,
Yeah.
and the minute you do anything which is unethical, illegal, or immoral, which doesn't go with your levels of morality, I would say, you tend to take stress because you are always looking behind कि कोई तो मेरे को पकड़ लेगा कुछ गलत करते हुए. So I, for example, if you remember TU days, there were days or there were months we would not hit our numbers.
Yeah.
Actually, we never hit because our numbers were very different.
Your words, not mine. But
Yeah. But we did speak to you and that, and we discussed that how do we make sure, if you remember, I'd come to your room to make sure the sales team makes the bonuses and you had signed off certain things. Okay. We understand how it should be done and we got. So the aim is do whatever is right, but give your best. Now, result is not in your hand. But if you don't try, then it's your mistake.
Oh,
Yeah.
beautiful. Kind of come back to that in some ways, connecting some of the dots.
Yeah.
So let's just kind of put it together in this term, obviously leadership, which is overused, underused, misused.
Yeah.
According to you, why should people, as part of your teammates, all shareholders,
Right.
all employees are shareholders,
Absolutely.
why should they be at Inka? Right? What is if somebody were to ask them, why are you there? What would you like them to answer?
I would like them to answer what I think you also mentioned, that work is fun. And this I realized 2 or 3 months back. Generally, we pay our salaries on the last working day of the month, 30th, 29th, 31st, whatever is the last working day. And that month, due to certain back changes, we were changing a bank account. The salary is reached on 2nd or 3rd because the account transaction was happening. If it was any other organization, including Mahila Money, 31st evening or first morning, I would have started to get calls or messages and things.
Yeah.
So second is when I had a call with the team and I told them that, the salaries got deferred. I'm sorry for that. And no one knew. I realized that my team is that for not working for salary. They got to know that they are not checking their messages or SMSs, whether the salary has been credited or not. So they are working because they are enjoying.
But that doesn't mean that you won't pay them, of course.
That doesn't mean that I wouldn't pay them.
That's not the next step. Saying, hey, it won't matter.
So cut.
That's not what you're saying. Yeah.
That's what.
Just to clarify.
Yeah.
Well, there are some founders who could do those things and saying it's only fair that you get paid more. Okay.
Yeah.
Clients, right? So different from the end consumers, clients, insurance companies.
Right.
Okay? Could be others too down the road for you
Right.
guys. But do you have as you kind of look at that ecosystem, you have to lead them in a certain direction.
Right.
There's an industry where you are leading with advisory and fulfillment is through them by definition.
Right.
At this point in time, do you know or are you able to translate what you're doing to what they really need, not want? But do you think that you have that? Or is that still to be discovered? Right, because you've been on that side.
Right.
Coming from this side, are you discovering new things or do you think you now know how you can translate what you're doing to what they need?
Actually, a lot of them, not everyone, a lot of them are now opening up to new ideas. For example, when we build the Inka Shore model and we said we'll do something for entrepreneurs who are not drawing salaries, few of them were very reluctant. No, this is not how insurance happens. But then Bajaj came in front and decided, okay, we'll back this idea. Let's build. We are building something with Argo on the health side. We have already built something with ICICI Lombard where credit score is being worked upon. So I would say if it was maybe 5-6 years back, a lot of them may not have been so open to the thoughts. Post-pandemic, newer things coming in, they're happy to experiment. Also, what has happened is my stint at TransUnion or Sibyl also helped me a lot build relationships with a lot of insurance companies from the claim and underwriting side. Because I was always predominantly a distribution person.
Yeah.
Those 2 years I was meeting the analytics and the underwriting and the claim team, which now actually as a InsurTech founder, I can very proudly say I'm the only InsurTech founder first who understands insurance because it's done himself. So I'm not a tech person fresh out of IIT doing all this. 2, I know not only distribution house or the distribution side of the team, but the credit underwriting team or the actually risk team. And that gives me a unique advantage because Lakshmi is a very dear friend of mine who's the head or the chief underwriter of HDFC Life. I can directly talk to her and I can also talk to Avinash who is on the distribution side heading the distribution.
You can relate to both of them.
And they know me also.
That's right.
So that's a huge advantage which I have
Everything
thanks to Sibyl.
begins with trust. So talking about trust, let's kind of shift to the consumers then. Because we talked about it and said there's a trust gap that actually exists.
Absolutely.
On a scale of 1 to 10, do you think you know why they would come to Inka? Or maybe that's clearer. Why?
Right,
How is, of course, propagation assured.
right.
Why they would buy. So, buy, and I'm not talking about buy just insurance, but buying the advisory services. On a scale 1 to 10, do you think you know how or why they would do that, that you are solving the problem? A lot of times you are solving the right problem,
Right.
but their consumer behavior is not accounted for why they would come. Have you figured that out, do you think? Where are you in that journey?
I would say it's 7.
Okay.
Still far off. And I think at any point of time, any company can reach best as 8. You can never be 10 or 9. Desire is to reach at 8. We are still 7. We are learning. I would say we have reached 7 pretty soon, but still way to go. And why I'm saying it'll never be above 8, because one, the customer set is so diverse.
Yeah.
You can never be 100% for anyone. And they also keep on changing with evolution and everything. What we see right now is, who should our first set of 100,000 or 1 lakh customers be? Our first 1 lakh customers ideally be the first 1 lakh Zepto users. That's how I look at my first 1 lakh users. Is these are the people who are open to experimentation. These are the people who are open to buying things online. These are the people who want quick decisions. I'll tell you why it's super important. An average life insurance buying is around 28 days. When I say I think of buying insurance, I've started my Google search to the day I buy. And then buying after the 28 may also go up if medicals are triggered and a lot of things. But these 28 days, 0 to 28, first 21 to 22 days are the research. Which company, how much sum assured, all those things. These 21 days at Inka has been cut to 60 seconds. Now, who are these people who want it cut and delivered fast? Are the people who are at Zepto. They don't want to go to a DMart or a Heiko or a store and search and stand. They know they want a 200-gram Glucon-D packet.
So intent to action for them has to be
fast.
So if they've done it there, you believe that they can do it elsewhere too.
Exactly. So these are the people who will also be. So you may not be a Zepto user, you may be a Blinkit user, you may not be any user, you come to Inka, fine. But 90% of where my focus, energy, and hence you see a lot of our print ads, commercials, everything going to Bangalore, is those are the people who are more open to those ideas where they can cut short and experiment. Hence, I say Zepto first 1 lakh customers as our first 1 lakh go-to people.
Then let's kind of look at the next segment, which is your investors. There are advisors and so on and on.
Right.
What do you really want from them? Who is an ideal investor? And I'm not saying this to either please anyone or piss off anyone, right?
Sure.
More in terms of what do you want from them? You're a person who's always been open to ideas, you're open to learning. But what is the value to you? Apart from the money, of course, allows you to grow. That's the engine of growth. What else do you need from them?
So, the first set of investors, and they'll continue to be more investors in the same line. I don't want investors who just give money. I'm sitting in a city and you saw the community and the locality where we are sitting. Each house, there are 400 odd houses. This is 419. So naturally, maybe more than 420 houses in the area. And each 420 has got enough money to at least read till seed for me. So capital is never a concern in the city I stay. A lot of my friends also, school friends, are running huge businesses. For them, Series A may also not be a concern. And with due respect to their money, the point is, and I've never gone to them also asking, I need money who's not only bringing money, but something more than that. Because aim is either that you bring some reach to me. So let's say you've got a set of 1 million users who can be my potential customers. You want to invest in me? Perfect. That's a great. Or you are someone like you who's an industry expert.
Thank you for sucking up. Yeah.
No, but there are people who are ex-CEO Bajaj Allianz. There is someone who's about to join who's amongst the top consultants in the company. In fact, everyone in the leadership is listening to him. Someone who's Can't disclose his name, someone who's the chief data officer of one of the leading life insurance companies. There is someone who's a ED at a Japanese / now Indian bank. He helps me open a lot of banking and debt related side. So people who have invested are people I know, people I trust, and more importantly, they do something more than money. Money is never a concern. I think at the stage that we are not a series A or a B where we are raising 100 million where the money could be a concern.
Yeah.
So that is what.
It's similar to the rest of the founders in some ways, right? Your personal connection plus believers in the purpose who believe that this is worthwhile. And they're adding value to the point of they never kind of go alone.
Absolutely.
Co-founders help you make sure that if you have a bad day, in this way, they're saying, what are you bringing to the table?
Yeah. I think till series A at least, the investors are kind of co-founders. They're a part of your journey because till series A, and this is my belief, I may be wrong, but till series A, you may say anything, but you have actually not discovered the true potential of the product. The backing is more on the founder.
That's right.
And the belief.
Yeah.
So you are kind of a co-founder in the journey. And that's what I look at.
Wow. Yeah. Well, that's a big compliment in some ways because you're right. It's the same thing, right? There's a personal connection, but there's also trust in the idea that things looks natural, right? Well, this is huge. I know we kind of spent a lot of time talking about many different things, and I want to kind of circle back and tie everything together.
Right.
In some ways, when I started this, I said, this should be a different conversation from a founder perspective because founders are creators. They are placed on themselves a challenge to create something. It doesn't have to be as original as it is a challenging of a status quo.
Right.
And to be the truest founders that investors talk about founder market fit is actually the fact that you have an idea which can't sit inside of you, that you can't bear it any longer.
Right.
That you feel compelled to again and again and again to be able to fulfill that itch and that need. Ambition driven by that is always pure, right? I have to. Great inventors have always done it, just not because they were trying to make money out of it necessarily, but they couldn't imagine not doing it.
Right.
Right? And that changes. Every 2 or 3 years, you could be thinking of something totally different. But the ability to challenge the status quo creates longevity, right?
Absolutely.
From a company standpoint. So I hear a lot of that. I also hear from a ambition standpoint, and the way you kind of describe ambitions and why you want to be number one. It is not absurd. It's not arrogant. It is discipline. That you have invested the time to do it, but the what is not compromised by how.
Right.
There's never going to be a way that you actually do this and forget the purpose or cross any line that does not work. The values always come one. And you're saying that even keeping those things right to be able to sleep better at night, I can still win, right? There's so many of the stories that you talked about, whether it's about how you control yourself and how you manage your positivity and your patience. You talked a lot about that in terms of when you were young, learning it. Some of this practice to a larger end for you. You wanted to learn, if I can master myself, then I have a better chance of succeeding in life. Is that a fair representation of a lot of the stuff? Not to encapsulate your life in 30 seconds.
No, but you're right. I think you can't. So let me put it this way: to win a battle, you have to control your opponents. You have to control the environment situation to a certain level.
Yeah.
But you can't control any of those situations if you can't control or manage yourself. So the first person you need to master is yourself. If you can't, then the game or the battle is over there itself.
No, which is true. But that as a fuel to create things, I think it's a beautiful combination, right? There's one more point they touched in that's to do with Inka and the adamancy of the purpose and why you believe as well. I asked you the question about emotional connection.
Right.
Perceptions of separation of power.
Right.
Being distanced so that you can make tough decisions. A lot of it is honestly crap of the highest order. Emotional connection is not a liability, right?
Right.
It is you vesting in. That's what skin in the game is. Because
Absolutely.
if you have your heart kind of vested in the people to be able to do things, allows you to do great things. So some of this is a great example of what you're doing, what you kind of believe in. I think that's also unique. it's not common. You're working with founders everywhere.
Right.
They've been taught to do different things, to be different, to separate themselves. Friends is friends, but you can't do business with friends. But you give an example, you've always done business with friends.
Absolutely.
For friends. Any relationship that can withstand a commercial transaction is a true relationship.
Absolutely.
Right? In some ways, it's like, that's a powerful thing as well. Okay. Anything else on your mind that you wanted to kind of share as we kind of went through this entire journey of you thus far? A lot more to do.
Right.
But anything else?
No, I think this has been a fabulous experience. Was looking forward to it because for last 2 months I've been hearing isse mile, aap usse mile, and I am sure no NDAs were signed, but no one is closed what they said. नहीं तुम्हारे को पता चल जाएगा. So I have no.
Yeah, my promise was to them is like, I'm not going to repeat your stories because you guys already have it. I can have him tell stories.
Yeah. But I've realized while talking to you that none of the stories which they would have shared have come out, and I'm missing them. I'm sure there would have been some juicy
ones. A lot
of
them did in different contexts in some ways. And obviously they are true, they're genuine, because if everybody's saying the same story, unless it's a big rigged machine that you are running, that you've trained everybody. But it wasn't that, right? This is not, this was about uncovering your life. But I think uncovering life is important for a lot of things that are unsaid.
Right.
For your team, for your family to hear as well. To accept certain things. And outsiders to be able to see that there is a normal way of doing things that might not be common.
Absolutely.
But you can win like this. Like nice guys don't finish last or don't finish first. It's moronic, right? You're not nice for a purpose.
Yeah.
You're nice because you're brought up that way. You're better than that. Right? Yes. And I'll end with this. It's one of my all-time favorite quotes. Somebody asked a CEO, what's the one lesson that you follow as a CEO? Right. What's the rule? I said, that person said, well, I only have one rule. Act as if your mother is watching.
Wow.
That's it, right? How many people do we know can say that? Yeah. Right? And a life lived, a job done right, is only as good as if my mom would have been proud.
So well said. Yeah, right. So well said.
And that's what we all should do. And there is a way to win there. There's a way to be number one in the world there.
Right.
There's no compromise. Right. Strong decisions allow you to make, great decisions down the road as well. And as you said, the more that you control yourself is not limiting. It's actually a beautiful opportunity for you to do a whole lot more. Right.
Absolutely.
It's beautiful, right? I've known you obviously for a while, but every time you have the conversation, I think these type of conversations where you're just talking about only one thing, you discover so many beautiful things. And I don't want to kind of over-intellectualize every word.
Right.
But it's a beautiful learning, right? And it adds value to me. So I will not block your number. So it's a positive from my perspective.
Yeah.
I wanted to thank you for giving me this opportunity. I am an introvert, but having spoken to so many people and really thought about what I wanted to know more of, and beautiful articulation on your part. I just think this is the beginning. And I would, for whatever it's worth, being older than you, I want you to do more and say more.
Right. Okay?
Say what is unsaid. Tell the stories that are untold. You could influence lives in a much, much bigger way.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming. It was a fabulous experience.
Still is, man. Thank you.
Thank you.